Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got Jamie the Great here.
Yeah.
Big shout to Never Forever. We have a special guest here. He's like an icon to me. I'm excited to have him here. You know,
you planned this shit out.
We drove to LA for this
just for this,
you know, just for him, because you know, like I feel like I've just been like listening to him. He is the voice like to me. Like he has the most iconic voice. You know what I'm saying? I actually need some drops from him. I don't know what we do. He said like top 5 iconic voices in the DJ community. Up there. I put him up there top 5 with like Kid Capri. Up there.
Yeah.
You know,
he's top 2 and he ain't 2.
You know, for all our DJs, he is our Bill Nye the Science Guy. You know what I'm saying? He is our Marcus Brownlee before there was a Marcus Brownlee. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like he is the face for any new tech and gear pertaining to DJs. We've watched his videos, reviews on YouTube. You know, he's got to be nearing almost 400 videos by now, I think.
And one year,
you know,
he puts out a video a day.
You know, we trust his word. You know, we respect his opinion because in the end, we know he's a working DJ just like us.
Yep.
He's got 30 years under his belt DJing too as well. And, you know, he's a part of the DJ City Beat Source fam. We're happy to have him here. We got MOJAXX in the building. MOJAXX. What's good, sir?
Man, that intro was like offending quite a lot of people. I'm not entirely happy about that, but I'll take it.
You got to take it.
Don't put me up there with the Kid Capri. That offended me.
No.
Come on, man. Like that's a voice right there. I've just got a regular UK like radio voice. That's
We're American.
Kid Capri voice is like on some different levels, man.
Like, when I hear like, hey, this is MOJAXX and there's a review coming, I'm like, oh my, I get shivers.
Ooh,
I get shivers. Hearing your voice right now, even on the mic right now, it sounds to me, it's like it's bringing back like a whole bunch of memories.
You know what's weird is that my voice, because I've lost quite a lot of weight over the past couple of years, my voice has changed.
Oh yeah,
it used to be quite a
little deeper,
a little deeper, and everything else. Like when I watch back to older episodes now, I can hear that.
Now we got to go do our research. We go look at that.
It has changed.
You look great though, man. You look great.
I've got jet lag. Flown into LA yesterday.
Yeah,
and I woke up at 3:30 a.m. this morning. I was in the gym in the hotel at 5 a.m. Did 90 minutes in the gym.
Wow,
that boy working, boy.
Wait, when did you start this like transformation?
It was after.
How much weight did you lose?
I lost, at one point, I'd lost 120 pounds.
Oof.
But now I've put back on almost 20 pounds, but in muscle.
Instead.
Wow.
Because I did it all through diet. It was when we first kind of met, was at the Beyond the Music retreat.
Right? Yeah.
In early 2022.
Yeah.
And I just started dieting at that point. I was doing keto diet, no carbs and stuff. And I started to lose some weight then. But then I discovered the gym, like doing loads of cardio, and then carried on losing weight. So I hit that 100-pound down kind of mark, and then carried on. And then since then, I discovered strength training now a bit as well. So now I'm kind of on that kind of more bulking kind of phase, and I'm like feeling good. Like,
right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd say that. I thought people who like said about going to the gym and they're like, oh, it's so much fun going to the gym. I absolutely love going to the gym. I thought those people were dicks. Like, but it turns out, yeah, it's real good. Like the endorphins and all, it is actually a really enjoyable thing to do. And I was like, oh, okay, I wish I'd known this, 20 years ago.
But and then your body starts getting used to it, where they're like, when you're feeling down or like semi-depressed or sad, you're like, I got to go to the gym so I can feel better about it.
It's actually it's got to the point now where I'm having to kind of cut back on the gym days, because I've been hitting the gym like 6-7 days a week, and it's like you need those rest when you're trying to when you're just trying to get fit, that's fine, but when you're trying to build muscle, you need the rest days to kind of build a bit of muscle.
He's gonna go from MOJAXX to MOJAXX.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. That's the plan. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm just feeling just much healthier and more focused and more energetic, and it really does make a difference.
So how are you sleeping now?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. I mean, that was kind of one of the reasons I started losing weight in the first place, was because my sleep was affected by my weight kind of thing. I wasn't like diabetic or anything like that. I hadn't hit any kind of medical issues like that, but I was a big guy, and it was like, sleeping. I had to always sleep on my front, otherwise I'd probably die and stuff like that.
Sleep apnea and stuff.
And that, so it was all these kind of little things just kind of tipped me into, I need to try and do something. And once I discovered the keto diet, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend keto for everybody. It probably won't work for them. But like, if you like meat and cheese and stuff, which I do, then keto works really well for me. I can live without carbs. Some people, it might be a vegan diet, might be the way to go. You know, so it just depends on you. But like, so I wouldn't say everyone has to do keto, but like, find a diet that fits your lifestyle and your taste. And then once you're eating food that you enjoy, like, I don't feel like I'm taking anything out of my life by not eating sugar and chocolate and stuff like that anymore, and you know, chips and things like that. Chips in the UK sense and the US sense, like I don't eat either of those now, and it's like it's so.
I will say though, the old MOJAXX, if I was in like a bar fight, I'd feel more comfortable having the old MOJAXX with me. The old MOJAXX looked like he could really throw down, like he could tear some ass.
Except he really couldn't.
No. It doesn't matter.
That's the irony.
Old MOJAXX giving you cool 45 seconds in the fight. This guy.
All I need is old MOJAXX just walking up like right behind me, and like, you know.
I probably looked quite intimidating, but actually now I'm far more capable at this stage. You know,
he knows arm wrestling.
Yeah. Well, so how is it? So here in LA, right?
Yeah.
How often do you come to the States? I rarely see you, man.
On average, it's like once a year.
Once a year, just for NAMM.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's an expensive endeavor.
But it's Super Bowl for him.
Yeah. And NAMM is like the one place on earth where I'm like a rock star.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you know, getting asked for selfies every like 30 seconds and stuff.
Right.
It's like
I just told you, you're a fucking icon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, and it's as I say, it's the one place on earth where that happens. There's nowhere else. You know, I can walk down the street all day long and no one's ever gonna. I've got recognised in real life one time. At home, one time.
So wait, let's explain to everyone what NAMM is for those who don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really technically. It's just like a bunch of DJ gear.
It's the National Association of Music Manufacturers. Oh, I hope I'm getting that right. It's either music manufacturers. And so most of the show is actually stuff like keyboards and music stands and like everything, guitar picks and all that kind of stuff. And that's the majority of this. It's a big trade show. It's like CES, but for music industry stuff. And so the DJ part of it, it's kind of like DJ Corner. There's like one area that's all the DJ kit.
Right.
And it makes you realize how insignificant the DJ game is compared to the rest of the music
industry. It humbles
industry.
you right away.
Yeah, it is humbling is the word. Like, it's crazy. But you know, obviously DJs they're well represented there. Lots of DJs attend. All the big brands attend, and it's like, it's just nice to be part of that community and hang out with people from all over the, you know, like the guys from Magma Bags have flown in from Germany, and like Dexaver from the UK, and all the Pioneer DJs there, and not every brand is there, but like Reloop are going to be there, you know, from Germany with their new stuff, and it's just like a nice opportunity to connect with people. But it just so happens amongst the people, there's like a Venn diagram of people who go to NAMM, DJs who go to NAMM, and DJs who know who I am. Yeah. And that Venn diagram is a circle. It's like one circle, because it's like, yeah, every DJ at NAMM knows who I am pretty much.
But every brand knows who you. I'm sure they.
The brands will do totally. Yeah,
I'm sure they're hitting you up. Please stop wearing booth like 1219.
Yeah, you know, I've got some invites. I mean, there's stuff, and this is the trouble. We're recording this the day before the NAMM show starts. Yeah. I need to upload here from the office later on a video of one of it will be the biggest product tomorrow. I've already had that.
And we can't talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it because this will be
after.
So what is it?
So it's the Omnis Duo from Pioneer DJ, except it's not from Pioneer DJ. It's from Alpha Theta. And this is the whole controversy that's literally kicked off yesterday, because they announced this new name thing, and people didn't. Their press release, all love to my friends at Pioneer DJ. Their press release was terrible because it didn't make it clear that like Pioneer DJ is still carrying on as a name,
right?
But there's a new series of products under the Alpha Theta name.
What is the thinking behind that for them?
I think the Alpha Theta thing just it's the name of the parent company for a start, that kind of makes it more weird almost. It's like Alpha Theta by Alpha Theta. But like, it just enables them to be a bit more experimental and try out some different things. Like there was that Opus Quad last year, that giant thing that looks like an Atari, right? Which I hated the look of that thing. it looks to
The
me
shape of it.
the shape and the wing shape, like, and the brown panels on the side, like kind
You didn't
of
like
beige.
You didn't
It's
like it?
disgusting.
Really?
Oh, but I made that quite clear in my review. The thing actually works really well. It was
Right.
a really nicely designed bit of kit, but it looked like an Atari VCS, and I hate that aesthetic.
It had this like I thought it was a little nice antique
I thought it was
looking.
antique.
That's
You know,
right, but
you know,
you know what? I was
Vintage.
I knew lots of people would love how that thing looked,
Right.
That aesthetic, and that really should have been the first Alpha Theta product instead of being that still said Pioneer DJ on it,
Right.
But that should have been an Alpha Theta. So there was the Opus Quad, and now there's this Omnis Duo that's just now people watching or listening to this will know is basically a battery powered all-in-one standalone, so you plug in a USB stick or an SD card and play off battery for like 4 hours. You
Like
don't
a
need to plug
controller
into the
that
wall.
you can use for 4 hours?
It's like an XDJ, like
Right.
an RX or an RZ or whatever.
I mean, that
XZ.
sounds amazing.
And it's dope. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like that little Denon Prime Go. It's like that, but like the kind of record box.
So you
equivalent.
love this?
I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And it's also quite attractive. Again, it looks different. Like you guys haven't seen it, obviously, at the
No.
time.
No.
That's the thing, because it's still under wraps at the time we're recording this. And it's kind of blue. And they told me like the aesthetic of it. And I was like, oh no, after the Opus, what's this going to look like?
Right.
And they said the aesthetic is inspired by vintage denim. And I was like,
Oh.
Is
this
this
is going to be the most disgusting product I've ever seen. It's going to be like stonewash,
Right.
nasty, like your dad's jeans. It's going to look like your dad's jeans. And I was like, this better not, like boot cut, man. And actually, it looks really nice. It's just like kind of dark matte blue. It looks real.
So is this new like kind of company or this new rebranding? It's kind of like it's like for them to be a little bit more like artistic and like alternative.
Yeah. I think that's basically what it is all about, because the thing with Pioneer DJ, or as they originally were Pioneer,
Right.
is that they have to be quite safe. They have to be quite staid in what they do. Like when they bring out a new CDJ for the club, if you go too far from the existing blueprint, there are going to be thousands of DJs around the world, and those DJs who play on the big festivals and all this kind of stuff, who are going to be mad at you. Like if you do stuff that's too different.
It's just got to be functional.
Yeah,
right?
it has to carry on that kind of existing legacy. I mean,
Right.
the whole thing is, right, if you look at the most recent club mixer of theirs, the A9, are you guys seeing that?
Yeah, I played on that already.
Right.
Amazing.
That is not only pretty similar to the 900,
Very.
but it's also quite similar then to the 800, back to the 600, back to the 500. So that is effectively, that DNA of that mixer goes all the way back to like 1998. That's basically what it is. And like if you played on a DJing 500 in 1998, you'd probably be very comfortable on an A9 today, because the layout, the effects is in a similar place.
Yeah.
The knobs feel kind of similar, everything. So that's why their stuff is successful, because they can kind of innovate in terms of technology, but also you feel comfortable on it, even if it's, there's no like massive jumps. And so they bring out stuff like the V10 mixer, that 6-channel mixer, and like people like me jump on it and say, this is incredible.
Yeah.
The sound on that is incredible.
And the send effects are so dope, right?
Great.
The delays and stuff. But a lot of DJs do not like that.
Well,
because
I
it
mean, there's a
scares them.
learning curve. Yeah. You have to get used to it, right? Yeah.
And a lot of these big, especially these big festival guys and big club guys who are getting paid their big money, they don't want to have to learn new stuff. They just do what they do, and they want to stick with. So like people like James Hype, for example, like he's very comfortable in what he uses, and he doesn't want to switch that up too often, and so I respect that.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that kind of stifles the innovation a bit, because they can't bring in all this different, to bring it back to what we were saying, they can't go crazy with the new CDJ.
But now they can.
But
with
now
this
they
new
can with this
company.
Alpha Theta brand
Right.
instead. So I think
that's
maybe
interesting.
eventually they'll just be Alpha Theta. Maybe eventually they'll drop Pioneer DJ. But certainly they've made it quite clear to me that existing products still sold as Pioneer DJ. And there probably will, from what they said to me, there will be future products from Pioneer DJ and Alpha Theta.
Right. So I have a question. Do you ever feel hesitancy to be completely honest when you're giving a review?
No.
No.
No, it's straight up no. Like never. Because the rule is, and this is what I think a lot of people don't understand, if I genuinely don't have nice things to say about a product, like if I don't like it, if I can't recommend it, because the whole thing with reviewing stuff is you have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of other DJs. So I'll play with a bit of kit and I'm like, this ain't the one for me,
Right.
but I can see a certain kind of DJ this will really work for. then I can be positive for that DJ and all that kind of stuff. But if there's nothing, if there's too many negative things about a product, if it just doesn't work properly, if it's not right, I don't review it because I haven't got time to put out negative reviews about stuff I don't like. There's too much stuff I do like to waste time on things. So, you know, there have been a few, not that many products, but there has been a few products over the years where I've just like, sorry guys, I can't review this for you.
So Pioneer isn't like hitting you up and being like, what was up with that last review? What was up with that?
No. Why were you so negative, huh?
I think we had we had one reel that we released that was about like us, like some people shitting on the Pioneer 3000s.
Yeah.
And I think it got like over like almost like 400,000 or 300,000 views.
No, it's almost at 1 million.
And then I got a homie at Pioneer, and they kind of texted me. They're like, "You made it to the international conference call."
Oh damn!
And I was like, wait. So what does that mean? And he's just like, no, it's just you were mentioned.
Yeah.
I was
actually,
like,
that's the thing, right? These companies all appreciate that feedback as long as you're not just being a dick about it, like you know, actually just kind of slating stuff because you don't like the company or if you're doing that, they don't dig it. But they appreciate genuine, honest feedback on their products because it helps them improve that product later on with updates, or it helps them improve future products. All of that kind of, that's the thing. And all these companies as well, like no one realizes how much they get DJs in to check things out early on. Like Pioneer DJ, by the time a product hits the stores, it's probably been seen by about 10 of your favorite DJs.
Right.
They've already played with it. They've already given their feedback. And so, and I genuinely don't believe that there are many bad products on the market for DJs. I just don't think there are actually that many that are genuinely bad. I think we've reached a point where DJ technology is quite mature and it's quite advanced. And
I agree.
There are products that have quirks about them, stuff I'm not a massive fan of, but in general, there's very little bad stuff out there.
I feel like there was a definite disconnect maybe like 10, 15 years ago, but I feel like it's completely like they're communicating with so many DJs and they know what's going on.
And a lot of it is because the software that we use is more mature as well. Like, Serato, you can make, it's not hard to make a Serato controller that's decent because Serato have made that template for you to work from. You have to have these pad modes and everything. You're building it around Serato.
Yeah.
And so therefore you can't really go wrong unless you make some idiotic decision about the hardware. It's kind of hard to mess up a Serato controller because Serato always works as it works.
Yeah.
You can't.
MOJAXX, you love all of this shit. You never get bored.
I'm obsessed. When I started out as a DJ, I started when I was like 13. Doing like school parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And
wait, you wanted to be a DJ because of your father, right?
No.
Your pops? No,
not at all. My parents are not really musical.
Okay.
Not very much at all. They were both teachers. Like they were like principals.
Wait, so what planted the bug? Or the seed?
Always just loved music from when I was tiny. Like there's a video or a photo. No, I think there's an audio tape. Sorry, not a video. There's an audio tape of me singing along to an ABBA record when I was like 2 years old. Wow. Super Trooper. I had my own record player, like a turntable with a FM radio built in and stuff.
Yeah.
When I was 2, I had a standing order at the local record store for this one artist from the UK, Shakin' Stevens. He's like a knockoff Elvis, British Elvis. Shakin' Stevens. And I had all of his new records. They would save one for me at the local record store in the village. And I just grew up loving it. And I went through I realized quite early on, I have no talent for making music. I can't do instruments and stuff. I tried different various things, and I just loved consuming music and listening to music and discovering new music, and that was so it kind of evolved from there into, as soon as I got a chance to do these school parties, it was my dad's school that he was principal of.
Right.
I jumped at the chance, and I was playing off cassettes and my 7-inch vinyl. I had my 45s and various compilation LPs and stuff, and that's what I started with. I used to record the top 40 charts off the radio on a Sunday and cut them off. So you play on cassette. It's like that, and before the DJ comes in and says that one in at number 7 this week, and you cut it off.
Right.
But so yeah, and
you're doing exactly what we were doing in New York.
Totally,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah. But as soon as I kind of really got into DJing and started to understand what DJing really was, I started because the way that we learned about DJ shit back in the day was you buy magazines, right? So I would buy DJ Mag, Mix Mag, Music, MUZIK in the UK. When I could get it, I would get like, you know, the Source and stuff. We used to get import copies of that and all this. So you learn everything from magazines. I had I just bought endless magazines. And that's why like YouTube and stuff is such a resource now, because you can watch it all for free on YouTube. Back then you had to buy a magazine. But I would always straight to the back of the magazine, like DJ Mag, open it up, straight to the back to the tech section. I used to just like, you know, when you were like a kid, you used to do a list of the toys you wanted and stuff.
Right.
Like, I want this light and this speakers and these decks, and like you'd like do all that kind of fantasy shopping.
You circle it and you were like, yeah.
So because I love the technology side of it as well. I'm obsessed with it. And have been since, you know, 13, 14, 15 years old.
What were you like? I'm curious. Like, what were you always obsessed that you couldn't get your hands on it, or was it that you always knew like something would give you leverage or like an advantage? You know,
no, I just thought it was cool.
Cool.
I just thought it was cool. I love technology. I love like new tech, and when it enables creativity and enables you to play in different ways and do different things, that excites me so much.
Right.
And it, you know, like in recent years, my method of DJing has really changed, because I'm using like my default setup. Most of my gigs is S11, turntables, Phase, and Serato DJ Pro. And just through in the last 4 years or whatever now, so Phase is now completely reliable. I use it all the time. That's changed things up.
Now
so
it is.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't when it first came out, you know. But like, it's completely reliable. I use it constantly without. I don't take needles anymore. I just take Phase.
Right.
You know, I trust it entirely. And then the new stuff in Serato, like Silent Q, is an amazing feature. That's changed how I play. I use Sync a lot now. And I use Silent Q and Sync kind of in combination. And I also then now combine that with stems. Stems, man. Stems. It's like, mind just blown. Like that guy, that meme of that guy with like the numbers going around his head. That's me when I play with stems. Stems is epic. And I fully thought stems was terrible, because it was. Like when it first came in Virtual DJ and like Algorithms DJ Pro, those stems sounded bad. And I sat on the stage at that Beyond the Music retreat, and I was like, stems are shit, and they're always going to be shit, and no one's ever going to use them.
You're right.
And then Serato's came along, and now like Virtual DJ has good ones too and stuff. And it's like, oh, actually, stems is the best thing that's ever happened.
I retract my statements. He said.
I put my hands up. I was wrong.
I kind of think that
I was wrong.
I kind of think, you know, there was that announcement that Pioneer, their parent company, bought Serato.
Yeah.
And I honestly think, well, it's my opinion, I could be wrong. I thought they purchased Serato for a bunch of reasons, but I also thought they didn't want to develop stems for the. I think they want to implement stems in the CDJs. That was my thinking. I was like,
I think you're not off.
I think that was one of the main things to pull the trigger.
I feel like that's probably a bonus. I don't think that's really a motivating factor, because actually, you know, we now have Virtual DJ Stems 2.0. We have the Algorithm DJ new version of stems.
Right.
And actually, they're really good. It's not that hard to make really good stems.
Really?
No. You just have to put in the work and the time and have the software developers with the skill to do it. It's not like Pioneer DJ couldn't have gone out and got a team to make better stems themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's a nice bonus.
I think it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's a synergy. It's cool. But
right.
I mean, the thing to bear in mind is that, again, at the time of making this video, that deal has not gone through. Like Alpha Theta do not own Serato at this time, because it's all down to the New Zealand Competition Commission or whatever, and they haven't approved it. They were supposed to approve it in December, and they put it back till like April. So it's still up in the air right today as to whether or not that deal will go through. And if it does, that's going to kind of change things a lot. It's in music, who make Newmark and Denon and Rain and stuff.
Yeah.
They responded to this competition commission saying, with a big statement saying, like, if this happens, we're going to take our ball and we're going home. Like, screw you guys, we're going home. We're not going to do DJ stuff anymore, which I think is probably a bit hyperbolic. That's probably not what's going to happen. But that's how serious this matter is. Like, it could end up completely changing the game
right
over the next year.
Your excitement for stems, right, is like I fucking love it. Whenever I see DJs using stems, honestly, everyone's like, I'm so sick of it. I'm like, I'm not sick of it. I actually enjoy it a lot.
Really enjoyable.
But I'm kind
when
of
it's
wondering,
done correctly.
When it's done, when anything's done correctly, it's amazing. But in your opinion, in the 30 years of you DJing, and I want to talk about you as a DJ as well. But in the past 30 years, in all of technology, in your opinion, what has been the most groundbreaking thing that you've witnessed and experienced in DJ tech that just completely was like, and if she says Serato,
I haven't heard it.
She's going to say Serato, but I want to hear something else. I want to hear something from another tech.
Well, that's the thing, though. There's been different eras, right? So
let's talk about it.
So
I'm curious.
The first big game changer was CDs. You know, like let's not forget at CD times, right? That was a heavy time. When it wasn't just CDs, because when I first started DJing in 93 or something like that, CDs were already kind of a thing. You could get DJ CD players like the double Denons and stuff, right? Like you could get those and you could play off CDs. But what really changed things was towards the end of the 90s when you had CD burners and the new generation of CDJ, so like CDJ 500s, the CDJ 1000s, the first ones you could scratch on properly, and like so it was that combined with the internet and being able to burn your own CDs. Like every DJ had their big CD wallet with like their burnt CDs with like the Sharpie written labels, or like if you were fancy, like printed off labels and stuff. Yeah, bond that, like just get the Sharpie out. But like that was game changing because suddenly you could access music beyond your local record store, and you could get these, you know, off LimeWire or whatever. You could get the mashups, and you could get all this crazy stuff and the unreleased things in your country and things like that. And you could burn it on a CD, and you could share music from your friends. You know, they could share music with you, and like your DJ and producer friends could send stuff to you, and then you could burn it, play it in the club. And so that was the first game changer. And for me, it's all about accessibility of music. That's always the game-changing thing. So it was going from vinyl to CDs, or like CDs alongside vinyl.
That was like a big thing when like people stopped buying vinyl. There was a time when CDs came out, not only cassettes started becoming obsolete, but then the option for vinyl started going away because you had this completely high-quality digital sound
that was like this big compared to that.
I mean, it was insane.
Like, you know, it's funny how CDs have kind of just disappeared out of our brains at this point. Like I don't even.
But meanwhile,
think about
we're
CDs.
Still using CDJs, which is I think is
and it's
pretty ironic. But like
the 3000 doesn't even have a
it doesn't even have the slot, right? But like that, so that expanded the amount of music you could play because as a DJ, right, all you've ever wanted, right, is more music, right? That's the dream, right? You want to have all the music that you want.
More
so
music
you can play it to
and
people.
to carry less.
Yeah,
that's always it.
So like we went to CDs. Suddenly I could access music from CDs, but also from the internet because I could burn them on CDs. Then we went to Serato, which was the next big. You know, it wasn't just Serato. It was Serato, Tractor. You know, all of these software platforms. All of a sudden, again, you can now just have your MP3s straight there on your laptop and play. You can now carry that instead of 2 big fat CD wallets. You've now got thousands of files on your MacBook hard drive. So that expanded it again. And then for me, the next big step, obviously, is streaming. So now I have access to all the music that I want at any time. And that is another game changer again. Like when I started doing Twitch, you know, in the pandemic, I decided, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to die, like if we're all going to die, if this is, you know, the movie Contagion and we're all going to die here, right, World War Z or whatever, then I'm going to go out playing the stuff that I loved when I was like 20 years old.
Right.
And the stuff I used to go raving to in London, you know, when I lived there around 2021. And that was progressive house, like Sasha and Digweed, that kind of era progressive house, you know, Junkie XL, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to go out playing that in 2020. That's how, if I'm going to die, that's what I'm going out playing. And it probably won't do me a lot of good playing that on Twitch. It won't get me the big numbers and stuff, but I don't care. I'm just doing it just as an outlet for myself, and I'm just going to go out playing that. But I was able, thanks to like Beatport streaming, you know, Beatport Link, I was able to access new music. And the first few kind of months, I was buying stuff from Beatport, brand new. I was like, I'm going to play brand new releases every week. Every track is a brand new release that's come out this week. And in the first few months, that cost me like $60 a show.
Right.
Because I had to buy the file from
Very
Beatport.
expensive, baby.
And then the streaming came along, and it's like now I can just play brand new music every single week on Twitch for no extra money because I just stream it.
Right.
And it literally, oh my God, just having access. I did last year, I did a country set. Like I do this venue where they kind of have themed kind of events on all the time. So it might be, an ABBA themed event or an 80s themed event. And one night they had a country themed event. They had one of those like mechanical bucking Bronco machines and all that kind of vibe, right? And they were like, we've got this, we've got a country band playing, but we need you to kind of play country as well. I'm like, I know nothing about country.
Yeah.
But we got, Nate Nelson curating that country vibes on Beat Source.
Yep.
When it hit his playlist up, added them in, and I started playing. And like and I turned up and I thought it was going to be like casual, because it's the northeast of the UK. I'm not expecting like a full-on hoedown here, but it turns out like loads of people wearing cowboy hats, like proper serious country fans. I'm like, oh boy, pressure's just gone up here. But those playlists had everything I needed. Like I was playing stuff, and they were like,
you went to
loving
Beat,
it.
You went to Beat Source.
Yeah.
You went
Beat
to the
Source country section.
Country hits, and then they have a few. They have the country hits, the nostalgic country hits.
Yeah.
They have all this stuff.
And it's like, so you read in the room, it's like, oh, they're kind of young. Let's play the newer stuff and all that. And it's like, to have access to music in that way.
Right.
When I started out when I was 13, that would have blown my mind. Like the idea that I have access to all the, when you used to go and spend like $5 to $10 on a 12-inch or like $20 for an import, which in our case was anything from the US was an import. So everything was $20 from the US, like the Armored Van Helden records and that. It's $20. You're getting a double pack. Man, that's getting expensive right there. But like, just the idea that I can access all this music and have it all the time. Like I do country night, and I pulled it off. I did a whole country night. I played like 5 hours of country. And I smashed it. And it's
Shouts to Beat Source, man.
Oh man, what a time to be alive! Like you got to do that.
The funny thing is, there's a bunch of kids that are like, "Oh, this is how it should be. This is how it is."
Yeah.
But you have all this value in music because
because we used to go chase it.
Yeah.
Well, it was just so hard to find the music. It took so much work to find one record.
But you know how many times I bought a CD because of one song?
Yeah.
That's how crazy it was back then.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, you get those compilations or like like I say, those double pack import vinyl with like the one remix on there that is the one you want. And you spent $25 on this double pack vinyl for one track. And so it's just the music. As I say, that's the stuff that I think is the biggest changes in technology, is increasing access to music.
Wow.
Because, when I was a kid, I only had those cassettes that I'd tape things off the radio or my own collection, and I stole my dad's records and stuff like that. That's all I had. Then I started buying my own records from stores as I started to do more gigs and do different stuff. And then, so CDs, laptops for the accessibility of music, and now streaming. And that, for me, that's the three big pivotal changes.
Right.
Because fundamentally, all we're doing is still kind of the same thing. We are still just mixing a couple of records together and transitioning, segueing between different records. That's what a DJ does. But now we can segue between a million, billion different records instead of that one crate. But at the same time, I do the 45 thing because in some respects, I kind of miss that aspect of it. It's like I have my box or my bag of vinyl. That's all I got.
Yeah.
No request tonight. No request tonight, baby. Because if it ain't on these, if it's not on one side of these records, it ain't getting played. And like I enjoy that aspect of it too, like that forced restriction. It's like, actually, no, tonight I don't have access to all the music in the world. Tonight I just have this bag of vinyl and I need to throw down with this bag of vinyl. And that I think that's why the vinyl stuff is really starting to pop off again. Because I think a lot of DJs are feeling that, right? There's a lot of vinyl nights going on in Vegas now.
Got a lot of in Vegas.
London, it's becoming a thing. Like
really?
I saw DJ Swerve, big UK hip-hop DJ. He did his first vinyl set in about 20 years, like a couple of weeks ago. I saw him on Instagram posting that. And it's like, it's coming around because people are now nostalgic for that limitation of not being able to play everything. So, I think, but it goes hand in hand. Both goes hand in hand.
I think it's a combination of like watching a blacksmith, like like wheeled steel or whatever, but also just kind of like, this is their showcase. This is what they brought. This is what we're gonna listen to.
Yeah.
So I've seen a couple of your YouTubes, and I love this YouTube where you're playing breakbeats. You're playing every genre. So like you love progressive house, but you're a lover of all music. You've done hip hop.
That's my problem. That's my problem,
Yeah.
right? I love so much music. I have such a wide taste. I could never be anything except an open format DJ at heart. Like, as much as I enjoy playing progressive house or whatever, I got bored of that eventually, like, just because I wanted to play drum and bass. I want to play breakbeat. I just love so much music.
Yeah.
And I have a really hard time focusing. And I'm sure I would have been a far more successful DJ in my life if at the age of like 20, I'd been like, no, I'm just playing house. That's
But
all I'm
I
doing.
heard
But I can't do it.
I heard
Can't do
that
it.
about like the England scene though. There's more specific DJs, like specific. I heard there's like DJs that only do specifically drum and bass, and then like.
Well, yeah, I mean, there definitely are.
There is less open
But-
format guys like you, right? A little bit.
There's still plenty of open format
Is
guys
there?
out there. Yeah, there still
But
is.
there's definitely like it's more specific, right? I feel like in England,
Yeah.
but I could be. Where did you grow up? Where did you come from in England?
I grew up on the south coast, Bognor Regis, and then I lived in London when I was in my early 20s for a while, and now I live in Newcastle in the northeast. And I don't know, there are always these smaller scenes where, yeah, you can just be a house DJ or a UK garage DJ or a
Right.
drum and bass DJ. But I don't think that's that different from here. I wouldn't say necessarily. Like, there must be some underground dubstep nights popping off in Vegas.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't think in
about
Vegas,
that.
but I
Not
think in
in
other
Vegas.
cities. But to be a one-trick pony here, I think it's a downfall.
But I think that's kind of, I don't think it's that different. Like, if there's still open format is open format wherever you are in the world. Like, there's always mainstream clubbing is always kind of the same everywhere. So like my circle of friends in terms of DJs in Newcastle is very much open format. They all play whatever.
Really?
You know, but obviously open format, the meaning of open format has changed over the years.
Right.
You know, it used to be much more open than what it is. Like today, I think for a lot of these younger cats especially, open format means mostly hip hop and R&B with a bit of house. That's what open format
dance
means.
music,
Whereas to me, 20 years ago, open
England? In England?
Yeah, in the
Okay.
UK. Whereas over in, you know, back 20 years ago, open format would be, yeah, hip hop, R&B, house,
Rock.
80s, rock.
Classics, everything.
Yeah, whatever. And that was what open format was. But now open format has been redefined a little bit. I don't think people have the kind of bravery that they once had in that kind of AM kind of era.
Really? I'm seeing
You know.
the old school form of open format coming back. So I'm seeing like the kids wanting to hear more disco. They're more 80s. They're like a little more receptive. I think 5 years ago was a little different.
5 years ago was definitely
Yeah,
different.
I feel like, you know,
Definitely.
there's like a resurgence of like, you know,
Post-pandemic is a different game.
I mean, there's songs from like Lady Gaga that's coming back, right?
Yep, from the
Murder on
third
the
album.
Dance Floor. ABBA is like huge right now.
Yep.
You know, there's all these older songs. We were
Gimme,
just talking
Gimme.
about this earlier.
Well, yeah, this is
Right?
it's a really interesting time because, yeah, it's like post-pandemic, that changed a lot of things about how people thought about music, but also we are in the streaming era, like, and the TikTok era, and people discover music in different ways
Right.
than they did 5 years ago. And like I now, my main residency I've been doing for like 5 years, it closed because it's under a bridge and they're like redeveloping the bridge and stuff. So that had to close, right? It was an outdoor container kind of spot, you know, in like shipping containers and stuff.
Yeah.
It was dope as hell. And I did it and I had complete freedom there. So I could play whatever I wanted. Like some nights I'd turn up, I was in the mood for like indie rock and I'd play like 5 hours of indie rock. Next week, reggae, hip hop, you know,
Sounds
whatever
amazing.
I'm in the mood for basically. And that was cool. But that closed and now I've been doing more. I've taken on different residencies in the months since then. And I'm actually playing to much younger crowds now than I have for a long time. So I'm playing to like 18 to 21 year olds, 22. And
That's really young.
they all, I mean, because that's the thing, the age of drinking in the UK is 18
18,
to 21, yeah.
You guys just don't give a fuck.
No.
Yeah, but like, so interestingly, that crowd now, they want the old stuff.
Yep.
They want, like, my main...
They want no hands.
My Saturday night, they want no hands.
At prime time.
If anything, no hands is too recent for these kids. Like, they want... No, actually, it's not.
Here in the States, it's an old song,
Yeah,
quote
yeah.
unquote.
No, okay, yeah. But like, so I'm playing 50 Cent. I'm playing,
Right.
you know, like early 2000s, late 90s hip hop and R&B stuff which is perfect for me because that's the kind of BPM range I like 90 to 110. It's like where I'm at. I love that. Makes me happy. That's
he
dance
doesn't like
music.
anything below that.
Anything below that, I'm like, nah.
I tried to talk to him about UK music, and he was
it's just too slow, man. It's too.
That's eccentric.
I like that danceable BPM. That's where I'm at. But like, so it's so weird to me. I'm now playing really old music, like 20-year-old music, and the kids are going crazy for it. But the stuff I'm finding that's really working right now is like 2014 era stuff. So like 10 years old, because anyone now who's 21, they're going out now. They're enjoying clubbing and stuff for the first time. And that's the stuff that they enjoyed when they were like 10 years old.
Yeah. 10 years old.
11 years old. And like, that's the stuff you remember.
That fucked you up. That fucked you up. 10 years old.
No. But you're right. Baby. It's like usually we have older siblings or we have older people and we're watching like, our older siblings or like cousins or anybody that's cool. They're like 16. We're seeing them get ready to go out. We're also like absorbing what they're listening to. Our parents are listening to.
It's the stuff you hear in the car, on the radio, and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, so that's really interesting in that they're kind of looking back to that 10-year ago period. And now I'm so old as a DJ, I've done that multiple times. Like, okay, now they're looking back to this 10 years, this 10 years.
It's funny. You got to kind of go back, like, if the drinking age in the U.S. is 21. So I always try to go back 6 years. And then I go back another
high school kind of age. And
I see, because there was I forgot who it was. There was a comedian that said like any age that you're like trying to get laid or starting to get laid is like the most memorable age for music. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
2002 for me.
When you're 16, you're going on dates and you're like like trying to
for me it was like Nirvana. That was my music. I'll never they'll always be my favorite band because Nirvana was like my teenage band. Like at that time I was super into like UK early like breakbeat hardcore like SL2 and stuff like that, and Liquid, Sweet Harmony, that kind of vibe. And like, so that's the stuff that will always stick with me because that's what I liked when I was like in my early teens. And so it's fascinating. But this is where the streaming thing kind of twists it now, because these kids, my daughter, I have a 12-year-old daughter. A lot of the stuff she listens to already is kind of old because of TikTok and because of streaming. So she's listening to records that are already old. So when she's 21 going out, she's going to be listening to 20-year-old music maybe. And it's like, or she'll be listening to ABBA or like this. So it's all kind of flipping on its head right now. This whole cycle is kind of messed up at this point. So it'll be interesting to see.
It's interesting because it's like some of these disco songs and 80s songs and 90s and 2000 songs are creeping in, but not all of them.
No.
So it's like we're thinking, this era of is coming back, and it's not. It's just these particular songs.
Yeah.
So when we go back, we kind of got to treat it like, these are the songs that popped off in this year, in this era.
Yeah.
But we just got to remember, like, My Boo was popping in, I don't know, during the Instagram shuffle era.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, just that song, not that whole era of of two-step music, that double time music was popping. It was just that one
really challenging as a DJ to kind of balance it. And you do sometimes throw stuff in. You're like, well, if they like this one, they're gonna love this one.
And
just
you learn,
bombs,
and you learn the hard way.
Nothing. It's
God
like,
damn it.
Man, like
get out.
I'm glad you guys are experiencing this. Across the water in England.
Like I don't do club stuff anymore. That's not my kind of thing. I do smaller kind of bar spots and things like that. And for the last few years, I've done lots of food spots and things. But like, I still enjoy that dynamic. That's the one thing that I always just love about DJing is trying to please the crowd.
Yeah,
like that is the thing that gives me a buzz.
Trying to please the crowd, but like also represent and showcase your taste at the same time. Yeah, that's the greatest blend when you guys are like ear to ear, eye to eye, seeing like eye to eye on.
And I've always been like somebody who like I will play the worst music if that's what they want. I will play the worst music, but I'll put it together in a really interesting way.
Yeah,
and like that's the thing that gives me that buzz, and that's what I really enjoy doing. Like I don't mind. I'm playing Avril Lavigne records or whatever, but if I can kind of throw it down in a way that recontextualize it that you don't expect, then I'm going to enjoy that, and I'm going to. Yeah, I that's my kick for me. I get that buzz every time.
I think it's a great time for DJing. I feel like it's re-entering the mashup era. I've said it before, but it's just a different form of it. It's just like, we're following the lead of these young kids. And I'm like, thank God. It's like, for me, it's like very refreshing now.
Yeah.
To be playing the sets that we're playing.
And it's better sounding mashups now.
Were you, when you were growing up or when you were starting to DJ, You know, like I'm from New York, so like the music was all around me, like hip hop, R&B, the '90s, everything was just like I'm almost spoiled because it was in my back door. For you, was it just like what was the '90s and 2000s? Were you craving for all of this U.S. music, or you weren't really into it? You were quite happy.
The thing, like my teenage years, you know, it was rave, UK rave music.
Right.
That's what was going at. That was the exciting stuff that was happening around me, was rave music, and I loved it. You know, I used to dream about going to the big raves and stuff like this, and all this kind of, and that then evolved into like happy hardcore, and then drum and bass kind of split in two directions. So you got the happy and the dark. And
now, where were these raves? Were they only in London?
No, they were all over.
They were all over.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Was it underground too?
It was underground, but it had a massive impact on just general culture in the UK. Like the rave scene was really important, and like think about bands like the Prodigy that came out of that.
Right.
You know, and they then exported what they did over to the US.
It was insane.
You know, and that kind of stuff, and then you get to like the big beat era, so like Fatboy Slim. Again, exports all over the world, and like everyone all over the world knows about Fatboy Slim, and like that. Being on the South Coast at that point, when Big Beat was kind of a vibe, like that was kind of local to me. That was pretty close to where I lived, and that was all kind of, you know, Brighton was the home of that on the South Coast, and so that was all popping. And Brighton was where me and my buddies would drive every Saturday to go buy records. You know, like Crafty Cuts used to have a record store in Brighton. We used to go buy records from Crafty Cuts every Saturday. You know, like that was just how it was. And so like, yeah, those were the scenes. And so really, to be honest, like hip hop, there was always elements of hip hop, especially in that big beat stuff. You know, the Fatboy Slim era, definitely there's elements of hip hop came into that. But for me, I didn't really discover hip hop that much until I later moved to London and started playing at their elbow rooms.
What, elbow rooms?
Yeah, the elbow rooms. It's
What
like
is that?
Kiefer Sutherland's pool place.
Oh, okay.
He owned the elbow room. Yeah.
The actor, Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
His spot he owned in London. I think there was one in LA as well or something, I think as well.
I know that.
Yeah, so the elbow rooms, like pool tables and that kind of...
Because like when I go to London, like I've only been there like twice. But when I've been there...
You made it sound like you were there every summer.
When I go there, I'm telling you, they love 90s R&B. It's it's like the soundtrack to any retail store, to any coffee shop, is like Mary J. Blige, Lauryn Hill. It's all this 90s and like early 2000s R&B.
When did you last go to the UK?
Is it different now?
Well, no, because like...
I was just shocked. I'm hearing like...
You went twice a year. Like,
I know.
Because you're talking about like, you know, Central C and like this UK hip hop.
Yeah.
You go in any store now, that's the soundtrack.
Okay.
Is like UK...
The grime stuff.
That's what
Where's
is...
the vintage place?
I mean, that stuff still
What's
works.
the vintage shops at?
No, but you know, I'm still like I'm saying. That's what I'm playing now. Like I'm playing
Shoreditch.
Yeah,
Shoreditch.
Yeah,
Shoreditch. Yeah.
But like I'm playing, you know, Mary J. Blige records and 50 Cent records, and they are popping off. Like, it is there, but like the soundtrack for stores and stuff is very much that UK hip hop.
Yeah,
the teenagers, the younger kids, really want that UK.
Bro, I'm gonna go on record saying
they love that.
Right now, the state of hip hop, American wise and UK wise, UK has it. Like UK has it in a bag.
I mean, dude, they've been affecting New York. All this music, all this New York, like shit that's popping off. Yeah, it's insane. You're not the biggest fan of that shit.
I love that.
It's just not my thing. Like for me, hip hop,
like you don't even have no hands in your fucking library.
I realize I don't have it in my stride because
why did you look for no hands in your life?
Because I saw the the clips, right? I was like, man, I don't think I ever played that.
You mixed it up.
What year was
it's
that?
Like, why are they getting so upset about this song?
What year was that? Was that like 14?
No, I want to say 2012.
So like 2012.
Long ago,
12 years ago, something like that. So that.
Oh my God! What do you can I just tell you? If you drop that song,
yeah,
you better text me and be like, oh my God,
until after 12.
After 12.
Yeah. No, it is. But like, I mean, yeah, there have been various periods in my life when I don't really play a lot of hip hop, and I think like 2012 was a time I was not playing a lot of hip hop. I was playing very open format at that stage, and then like 2015.
I mean, that was
spent a couple of years.
EDM boom. You must have been loving all that EDM.
But hip hop
shit.
in 2012 was amazing. Hip hop in 2012.
Yeah, but I wasn't, because at that point I'd kind of fallen out of love with hip hop because bottle service became a thing.
Yeah,
like it's never been. let's make it clear. Right?
Wait, say again.
Bottle service, right?
Oh, bottle service.
Bottle service. Sorry.
Like, I'm not understanding.
Good day, Mary Poppins. Let's have a bottle of pop. But yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
You
bottle
gotta
service.
slow down a little, Moji.
Put the subtitles right here.
I was like, bottle
Just dub me
service.
up. Yeah, just dub
Bottle
me.
service?
It's fine. But like, yeah, bottle service came around, and it's outside of London. Bottle service is not really kind of such a big thing, but it's still that became the energy of the time.
Right.
You remember that.
Everybody wanted to be Vegas.
Everybody wanted to pop bottles and be seen as being cool. Like most of the venues I used to play, you weren't able to buy a bottle. That wasn't a thing. You just bought a drink. Like, shut up and buy a drink.
Get a pint.
And then all of a sudden, every mainstream bar, you can start buying bottles and stuff like this. And it was like, once that came along and the tempo started to slow down, that's when I started to lose interest. Because it's just not my thing. It's not party music to me. Like 65 BPM music is not party music to me. And I know it works for a lot of people. I have a lot of DJ friends who now live in Dubai, and like that is their life. That bottle service thing, they love it, right? But it's just not for me. For me, it's not party music. So that led me to kind of stop doing that kind of gig a little bit and move over to more housey stuff. And then by about 2015, you've got all that Duke Dumont and like that kind of mainstream clubby house every weekend, that kind of stuff was massive. So I ended up playing a night in York for like 2 years every Saturday where I played nothing but house. And that made me super happy because house is like my first love as me. If I could only play one genre, it would be house. That would be my one genre.
You know, it's the most interesting thing to me, like the boom of EDM, like when EDM just really started exploding.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the worst time for DJ tech. In like the late 2000s.
I feel like there was nothing done at that time.
But it was literally the worst because you had these, I think there were horrible rain mixes at the time that everyone was using.
The 62?
Controversy.
I thought they were
controversy.
Was it the 62? Yeah, it was a 62.
There were these horrible mixers.
Hard buttons.
Nothing was like, the 900 just kept dropping and it was like the standard for everything and nothing was being innovative to me. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, right?
Right.
The Rain 57, right?
Right.
The legendary Rain 57, the first Serato Scratch Live mix.
SL.
Hot garbage.
I hate it.
Hate that mixer.
Wow, really?
I hate it.
I love that.
I hated it.
Hate
That was my first real professional
No, it
mixer.
was horrible. It was horrible.
Really?
Little clicky buttons, man.
Those buttons were hard.
I prefer the 56. I think it was. That was to me like the closest thing to me. To me, the best DJ mixer of all time is the Techniques mixer.
Yeah.
That's the best one to me.
I'm not going to agree with you on that, but like, I respect
You're
your
probably going
opinion.
to say Vestax, right?
No, I didn't really. I wasn't really a Vestax. I like the innovation of Vestax.
Right.
But personally, as someone who doesn't have a lot of talent when it comes to cutting, I'm not a fan of Vestax faders. I think if you're an advanced technical cutter, Vestax faders were fantastic. But for me, they never felt right. They felt too heavy. I wasn't comfortable.
I think the Techniques mixer, the layout, the size, the durability, how everything felt so well crafted.
Like battle mixer.
That battle mixer to me, was ahead of its time. I think there's no surprise to me that the S11, the S9
it's
are
kind of
almost identically patterned after that fucking Technique mixer. I think that layout and everything about that is perfect. The feel of it, like that was to me the highest quality mixer, and then it just started getting like, I don't know what they started doing.
I think I was obsessed with the faders on the Rain mixers.
Rain was just like, it was just a joke.
Faders on Rain.
The knobs were popping off. Things were breaking. It wasn't built.
On that 57, man, those really smooth like EQ knobs.
So you agree?
Yeah, I would say.
Nasty.
It was the worst.
Proper nasty.
Really?
That was the worst. It was the worst.
57.
It was like fucking Tic Tacs. It was the worst.
I didn't like the 62, the one after that.
But do you kind of agree that era, there was a pocket where it was like the worst tech in DJ ever. It wasn't innovating. It was like from 2005 to 2015, whenever the S9 dropped.
S9 was 15.
I felt like it was just going backwards. They didn't know what to do.
I'm trying to think now. Okay, so Martin Garrix, right?
Yeah.
Drops Animals.
Mm-hmm.
What's he DJing on at that time?
He was DJing on a
What year
Pioneer
is that?
900. It's a 900.
But what CDJs though? Because
it was a
2000s.
They didn't come out till like 2012. Oh no, they did.
No, the 2000s been around for a minute.
2000s.
Yeah, for a hot minute.
Can we Google this?
Yeah,
it's on Wikipedia.
I got it.
It's on Wikipedia. Like the date that the CDJs came out. I'm trying to think. Like he must
CDJ
have been on a
2000,
CD. Yeah, he must have been on the 2000s by then. Maybe I'm thinking of.
I feel like 2000 came out like in 08.
Oh, here, 2009.
Yeah, I feel
Right.
like
Okay. So yeah, because it was the Nexuses I was thinking. So they were on 2000s by then.
I'm going to tell you why it was
Yeah.
also horrible, because there was in the US, I don't know about the UK or Europe, but in the US there was a definitive line in the sand where if you were an open format DJ, you wanted to be an EDM, like a big festival EDM DJ. So in order to transition this properly, you had to stop using turntables and you had to start using the 4 CDJ setup with the 900 mixer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started going to gigs and then I started seeing these DJs and CDJs and I'm just looking at them like, why the fuck are you using this? You know,
It's
you're not
weird
using
because
this
like that EDM kind of era, I did enjoy it in some respects, but I found a lot of that music a bit too aggressive. And
after a while,
yeah,
Bro, you were listening to Prodigy, Firestarter.
like
That's aggressive.
like animals. That record is a pretty aggressive ass record. It's
Yeah.
pretty minimal and it's pretty
This
aggressive.
was talking about Smack My Bitch Up, Prodigy. Like, that wasn't aggressive.
But as a DJ though, like I never used to play Smack My Bitch Up on the
Right.
There was some I've played it in my life. Don't get it wrong. But and I've played lots of quite aggressive drum and bass and stuff. But in terms of mainstream music in a room, like a lot of that EDM of that time was quite aggressive and quite atonal and quite kind of minimal, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. And the stuff of that era that I enjoyed playing, and I will always I'll go to my grave, I swear down the best time to be a DJ was LMFAO era. That was the best time to be a DJ.
R.O.A.D. never
In
hated
history.
that era.
In history.
In history, that was the best
good.
time because every room was 130 BPM and it was a
120.
raging party. That was the best time to be a DJ, as far as I'm concerned. It was epic. You'll never get.
I
that
enjoy
moment back.
LMFAO music. I didn't enjoy that. I think the first album I enjoyed, but the second album I was like, this is a little bit too much. Like Sexy and I Know It, I was like, I wasn't bumping that.
Like it was dumb and it was stupid.
I think
and
it was the mid.
It was party music. And
I don't know about
a lot
that.
of it comes down to, you know what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's harsh economic times. Like that was the time of the 2008 crash.
Right.
After that, suddenly the tempo goes up. People want like stupid party music.
Right.
And they have a good time. Actually, as a DJ, in some respects, bad financial times are kind of better for DJs because
music.
people just want to let loose and party and forget their troubles. Like now, you'll notice a lot of the stuff, I don't know if it's the same over here, but in the UK, like your more recent big Calvin Harris records and stuff, they're like getting up to 140 BPM.
Yeah.
No, it's going wild again. And we've gone from like 10 years ago when it was like everything went down to 120. All the cool house music, Gorgon City and stuff, all of that's like 120. Now we're knocking on the door of 140.
Well,
of
140
mainstream club records again.
Yeah.
Because the whole world's depressed and they've got no money and everyone wants to go out and party.
Right.
So the tempo goes up.
You're absolutely right. I would say 70, like 140 to 150 is like a great pocket right now, and it's so interesting.
the double
Wild
time.
though. Think about that. 10
Yeah.
years ago, you'd say to people, "Oh yeah, what are you playing at right now? Oh yeah, 140."
But
people
yeah.
think you're insane.
But you're absolutely right. Like all of these songs that are coming out, like the Calvin Harris, even Jersey Club, is like hitting so hard. But everything's in the same pockets: drum and bass. It's all in the same pockets.
Yeah,
you know,
like that Chasing Status Badadan record. I don't know if that's popped off over here, but like
all
that
this
was
stuff.
So but that's the truth of it. Like the amount of money in people's wallets goes down and the BPMs go up and it becomes party music again. Because rich people, they got time for that slow BPM. But when you're poor, you ain't got time. You need to rage right now and just get to it. And it's like, so.
To me, I really love the 2005s era. It
that's the best era.
It was the perfect match, like to me, of all open format where we were like playing some Bob Sinclair. There was some Class remixes. There was Guetta remixes.
Yeah.
There was Electro. There was Baltimore Club. There was like all of these things like that we were putting together.
I include like from like 2005 up to about 2011. For me, that was like the peak party music kind of period.
But for you just loved that.
I loved it.
In the 2010s, there was this era of just you could just stay in a pocket of 128.
I'm trying to think
most
of
of the night. You can stay in that 130 because you're dropping the B-more stuff. You're dropping the Jersey stuff. I mean, that's the thing. Like a lot of us in the UK, and again, thanks to the internet making things more accessible, we were on the Low B forum and like getting the B-more joints and like finding all that stuff and finding out about AM and stuff in the UK. And that was only a certain subset of DJs in the UK knew about AM. because of those forums.
Wait, what year did you guys find out about AM?
Like when he was happening, like we found out at the time.
Like 05.
You know, but it wasn't that. He was never like a household name in the UK. Not at all, because I don't even think he ever DJ'd in the UK.
Yeah, I don't think he DJ'd.
I don't even think he ever DJ'd in the UK.
Wait, what are the DJs that like the UK or Europe like kind of like worships from the US, or they like look up to?
For us, it was always more house DJs. Like open format DJs never really.
So AM was the first open format DJ, but international,
again, but only to DJs.
What about Jeff?
Right.
Not in like Jeff. Like he's very popular in the UK, but not to the level that he is in the US. I would say.
Is he more popular for the show, or
he's known
DJ?
for the show, and that's the difference with Jeff over anyone else. Like I saw Jazzy Jeff myself for the first time at Fabric London in 2005. And that literally changed the way I DJ overnight, because I saw him using the Echo on the 909. And I'd never heard a DJ do Echo transitions before. And so literally, 2005, so that's like nearly 20 years ago now, literally overnight changed the way that I DJ, because I'd never heard an Echo transition.
It was groundbreaking at that time. I still didn't want to use that mixer though. I fucking hate that mixer.
That's the one with the screen
with the orange screen.
Yeah, with the orange screen.
It was like, that sounds amazing, but I'm not using that fucking mixer.
But I couldn't afford that mixer.
And so, he would like stay true to that fucking mixer forever.
For a long time, man.
Until he made the S9.
Okay. This just proves my point. This is a horrible time for DJ tech. It's literally the most horrible time.
05 to like
to 2015. Would you have to agree with me, MOJAXX?
Because there was no new CDJs. There was no.
When did you start making videos? When did you start making?
2013. So well after that period.
Okay, so like, I'm kind of right. No, if you were doing DJ tech videos in the late 2000s, you would have been like, "This is fucking horrible."
No,
man.
I think you're wrong. No, I'm sorry. I think you're wrong, because you're forgetting about Serato. Like literally now,
there's no undeniable that Serato changed everything.
No.
I'm talking about like mixers. I'm talking about hardware. I'm talking about hardware. It was horrible.
Yeah, because the 62 came out in like 2010, and that was pretty bad. And that
because you got to think, there's always a transition
period.
period.
Really didn't come out after it was shit.
There's always a transition period, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like between in the 2000s they were still holding on to vinyl and every but then the CDJs were kind of like a side thing, right? And then there's a transition period.
Okay, I think the difference is, and this is a cultural thing. This is a UK versus US thing.
Yeah, okay, I love it.
Right, because in the UK we adopted CDJs way earlier.
Like in the early, in the 90s.
In the as soon as the 1000s came along, like 2001, 2002, the first ones with the big drop.
They were still there. Yeah, but they were kind of like.
But no, as soon as they came along in the UK, they become the standard install.
Okay,
and like
a mastermind DJ.
So you gotta understand the CDJs. You've seen the setups.
They're raised.
They're either raised or they're on the side.
But that's the thing. Like we pretty quickly in the UK dropped the turntables out of the equation and just had CDJs. Like the 1000s made such an impact in the UK, and I think so once Serato comes along, it's easy for us. We're using Serato with our CDJs at that point, with the controlled CDs, putting them in, which always was a terrible experience, but like that's how it was. And so like around 2000 and I want to say 11.
He's still not agreeing with me.
No, he's not agreeing with
this era that was horrible.
No, because like
I feel like
horrible.
The house and EDM era was like, this works. Why change it? Like, why are we gonna make something?
Here's why it was also horrible. He just mentioned Serato. We still had to use fucking Serato boxes and plug them into these DJs. Like, let's admit it. These DJ setups, these mixers, these companies were not accepting of Serato. They weren't trying to accept the shit. They were trying to hold on to some shit. Mm-hmm. And then finally Rain was like, you can just plug into this mixer. And everyone used this shitty mixer just because they didn't want to. These clubs bought this shitty Rain mixer. Sorry, Rain. I actually love your earlier mixer. I love the earlier 90s mixers.
I'm going to down to her. It's not a shitty mixer.
But it was a shitty mixer that I don't know what the number was.
57.
The 57.
Yeah, the 57 was horrible.
The
and
red
then
line one.
This shit was lasting a month, and it would just break, and it would be there would be knobs missing on the shit, and it had horrible sound.
I don't think that's fair at all. I did hate it,
horrible.
but I don't think that's fair.
I don't know what these are sabotaging you.
It was horrible. It was horrible. It looked like a light bright in front of your face. There's all these things lighting up. It was horrible. It was a horrible era.
No, I'm sorry,
mixes,
man. I'm disagreeing with you. I don't think it was.
What is the worst era of tech? Do you think?
No, I think the worst era was that first era when CDs started coming in, and then we were on those double Denons, man. That was the worst era.
I was fine with that. Actually,
man, I used to spend. So
when the dish would come out,
yeah,
you would.
And you had the tiny little pitch faders,
and then you had the jog
the
wheel.
Jog wheel, you could just like dial it in, like.
I was okay with that. I was okay with that.
That was the era that I think was worst.
No,
I genuinely do.
I'm gonna stick with cricket because there's no mixer that was defined to be the mixer outside the 900. From 05 to S9.
It was fine, but it was fine. But it was the 900. It was always the 900.
Oh, the 800 or whatever.
And then you would go to some
the 800.
venues.
Yeah, but what's wrong with the 800? That was a.
That's fine. It was great, but nothing changed. It was the same.
You see that?
Fucking
Yeah, it's the same
mixer.
thing.
And not only that, they started updating the Serato boxes, which made shit worse. And so you had Serato box 1, 2, and 3. You didn't know what was compatible. You had firmware. It was like a horrible time. And then you got to also understand, when we were switching over, we had to fucking use the roll in the 900. We had to literally sample songs, sample beats for 4 bars.
Yeah,
to switch over. It was really bad time.
I don't
Compared to now,
now
come on.
It was challenging. It was
worst era.
See, that's the weird thing though. Like, I've pretty much my whole career, apart from when I've been DJing with someone else, like as a duo or like as a group or whatever, apart from those times, I've always been an open to close DJ. So like a lot of these conversations about openers and stuff that you guys have on this podcast on a fairly regular basis, that doesn't really impact on me because I'm an open to close kind of DJ. I actually get very uncomfortable having an opener,
respect,
or someone else finishing. I like to play open to close because then it gives me that control of the room. Of
course,
I don't have to worry about some dickhead dropping no hands at like 11:30. And like
more like 11:15.
But like, so for me, then a lot of those challenges about the changeovers and stuff, not really a factor.
Yeah,
because I'm just setting up at the start of the night. I've got all the time in the world. And
can you imagine if you had to deal with it on a weekend basis?
And when I did have to deal with it, it was a problem. But like, I don't think you can blame the I just think you're really negative. That was an exciting time. We had, man, you had your dicers on them turntables.
That's the worst.
Like
the worst fucking thing.
The first Serato controllers were coming out of itch, like the DJ SX, the Vestax.
You had to bring that extra Pioneer box for effects.
You made it worse when you said the dicers.
Man, I never left home without the dicers, man. The dicers were my jam. I got a pair of Technics with dicers built in.
Wait,
into the deck.
What did you do? What do you mean?
Like, I had them customized, so like painted and like colored and straight tone arm.
Yeah, but did you like?
And the
just glued it on?
Drilled out the holes for the 5 dots, and like mounted dicers inside. You plug in the USB to the bottom of the turntable.
Okay, you have to send me a picture of that.
Yeah, we need to put a picture.
That was one of my earliest DJ.
How much did that cost?
I don't know. I got it done for free.
Cricket, this tells me tech was bad if he's making his own tech.
Yeah, come on.
But the problem was,
it was definitely a transition period. That was a transition period. I don't think it was.
It was a transition period, but I don't think you can say it's that bad. I think
you made the first S9 turntable.
Exciting time. Like stuff was going on.
It was just so different. Everything was just such a
everything
toss-up
was raw. That was the whole thing. It was raw and it was tough. Like there were challenges with it, but I think it was.
But even when Serato first came out, and then we were switching. At least we were holding on to vinyl. Mm-hmm. So like we had vinyl that we would bring to switch over.
Yeah.
But during this 2010 era, it was like there was nothing. There was
the
like,
Wild West.
It was like CDJs, and then there wasn't. It was just like
sometimes there was one CDJ, one turntable. Like,
I mean, it
was a Frankenstein of a fucking mess.
It was the worst. It was the worst. I think it's the.
But I think if we hadn't had that time, we wouldn't be where we are now. Like you,
of course.
Okay, you got to appreciate the journey right here.
You're not saying that. You're not admitting that's so bad.
I was having a great time with tech.
It's like when you talk to someone that's been through war. It's like, well, if we didn't have that war, we wouldn't be where we are right now with peace.
Honestly, though, but I was like at that time, I was experimenting with like video DJing and stuff. That was blowing my mind, and like. I was seeing the potential of what you could do with Serato, and I was because of
Again, he's talking about firmware. We're talking about hardware.
But again, But
he is right.
And I discovered effects, so I've discovered echo transitions. Stuff.
There were a lot of ideas and a lot of different things coming to fruition.
I was controlling Serato effects with an iPad. I had like Lima on an iPad wirelessly. I'm controlling the filter in Serato.
Sounds horrible.
You created that pad.
You're doing this live in clubs?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was an exciting exciting time.
But you see,
Like,
he's Frankensteining this shit.
I'm trying, yeah.
I'm saying, as a club DJ, as a working traveling club DJ, it was a horrible time because it was just like the Wild West. You didn't know what club had a setup. Now it's a little bit more definitive.
Again, I've
You know
always
what
been
I'm
open
saying?
to close, and I've always been a resident.
So you can go
That's
there
my
early.
thing. Yeah.
You can set up your iPad.
Yeah.
You can do all of these
I
things.
had the space
You
and
can
the
set up
time.
your dicers.
Yeah, to experiment with all that stuff.
Okay.
That's
why it
very,
was great.
That is
Okay.
very different from like going to different venues
Vegas.
every weekend and everything else. That's a different story.
I don't even know
You
the
know.
size of your backpack when you're carrying all of this shit.
Man, I used to
Dicers
carry
and everything.
so much stuff. It was insane.
You had a roller bag when you went
Bags
to
upon
DJ.
bags every single Saturday night. Like, it was crazy. But like, yeah.
It's like a transformer.
But I think so. Yeah, maybe that's the difference. I wasn't doing lots of different venues and like
Right.
switching out and traveling and stuff like that. I was a resident DJ, open to close. I had the room to experiment. So that's probably why I do disagree. Like for me, that was an exciting time for tech because I was getting to experiment with all this new stuff. Like they brought out. Do you remember Serato and Ableton the Bridge? Do you remember that?
I like vaguely
It
remember
was like you
that.
could link
Right,
Ableton
right.
and Serato together before Ableton Link existed.
But that's when a
And,
lot
like,
of EDM DJs weren't DJing. They were
Yeah, yeah,
like
they
creating
were
their
just-
they were
sets.
creating the sets.
But like you,
live.
so you could like you could
It automatically
I was
mixes.
08. Yeah, it was like 08.
It was
08.
automatic.
Yeah.
It was warping every song transition. You could go to any BPM. You could do whatever
It's like
you want.
DJ Hero, but
and like so that kind of thing was all happening, and it was so for me that was an exciting time.
Okay.
So that's why that's just-
Hence the reason why you started doing the YouTube videos. Is that what it was?
Kind of. I mean, that's part
So I'm kind of
it.
ruining it for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a horrible
fucking
time.
American.
Like, I mean, for me making the videos because I went to, I'd not really had. I'd just been kind of DJing full time for quite a long time at that point, but I had various in my 20s. I had pretty bad jobs, like sales jobs and stuff like that. I didn't really. So I went as a mature student and did a media production degree at university when I was like mid 20s. So I'd learned a bit about making videos, and then it got to the point where my daughter was born. So this is like 2011 she was born. And at that point I was just a full-time working DJ. I was DJing like 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week.
Wow.
Just local and just residencies. But it was at one of those, I used to work for this chain called Vodka Revolution, and I worked between 2 of their venues locally. I was working 5 nights a week. And I'm like, if I have a falling out with the area manager, like if he decides that he thinks I'm a dick one day, then basically I'm unemployed
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Like, because I'm 5 nights a week at these 2 spots by the same GM, I am going to be in trouble if I fall out with
What
him.
made you have this realization?
Well, because I had a daughter all of a sudden. I had
Right.
responsibilities. Like I've got a kid, I've got a baby there, and I'm like, oh shit! Like
I have a quick
need
question.
Go ahead.
What was your rate at that time at that venue? Dollar amount?
Like
We'll
it's
bleep it out.
UK Saturday night residencies around that time is like $200
For the whole night, 6
Yeah,
hours. And you have to bring all your
No, I mean,
dicers.
yeah, but if you want to bring in dicers, but like the equipment, you expect the equipment to be there. That was kind of the going rate at that time. And to be honest, like most parts of the world, that rate hasn't really gone up all that much over the past 10. Like
I heard like
inflation
England,
for DJ wages is not a good
I
thing.
heard the rates in the DJ rates in England is
it sounds like
Yeah,
shit.
It's rough.
They actually kind of went up a bit after the
They did.
pandemic.
Really?
Because DJs were kind of more in demand. Like I think a lot of people kind of stopped DJing during the pandemic and kind of gave it up, and so there was a bit more demand. But now there's a whole cost of living crisis, and like venues have got no money. Venues are the price of drinks has gone through the roof. People are going out less. It's not a good time for the nightlife industry in the UK right now. So if you're a DJ, unless you are bringing serious numbers of people to a club, like you can't be asking for a pay rise right now, because chances are the venue you play at can't afford its gas bill or electricity bill to heat the venue. Do you know what I mean? So it's not a good time for that again. But yeah, so like
but at that time the fear set in.
It was just like, I have a responsibility now that I didn't before. I need to have something that's a bit more reliable in my life that isn't just DJing, because DJing, we don't really do like contracts and stuff, in the UK. You just like, you get booked, you turn up, you do the booking, that's it, and everything else as well. So like, that's kind of changed a bit over time, but still not that much. And I was just like, I need something else in my life that is more reliable. And I thought, well, I've done this media production training, like I can edit a video, let's make a video. And so I did. And just
What was the
started
first
from there.
video?
It was on the Native Instruments Tractor Z1. It's like a little 2-channel software mixer. So you got like the X1s and you got the F1, the Z1 is like the mixer one. Because I used to work at a DJ equipment retailer, like around 2000.
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you doing the product?
When I lived in London, so in my early 20s, I used to work at dex.co.uk.
Is that like the Guitar Center of England?
And it was like a...
It's called Dexstar?
Dex.co.uk.
Oh,
so like dex.com, but like dex.co. We have .co.uk internet addresses instead of .com. So it was, and it was but the actual name of the store was Sapphires. So I used to work there in the mail order department. So like I would be on the phone taking calls from DJs like wanting to buy stuff, and I would take their orders and give them advice on what to buy and stuff. But I left there when I moved from London and went to Newcastle. I'd long since left that job, but I stayed in contact with people who worked there. So I hit up the manager when I wanted to make a video. I'm like, can you send me that tractor thing and like just lend me one, and I'll like put your brand on the video. I'll just give you a shout out on the video. Can you send it through? And he sent it through. That was the first thing. And then one of the first...
And there was no one really doing this at the time.
No, I mean, there was digital DJ tips.
Okay.
There's always been some, like DJ Tech Tools. There's always been channels that inspired me, like DJ TLM was doing stuff at that point as well. Like,
but is there something that you thought, well, they didn't really cover everything. I want to be more thorough. I want to be,
No, I just thought I wanted to do my take on it.
Right.
As I say, I was inspired by those other channels. I thought they were great, and I just wish there was more of that content, because I'm a DJ technology nerd. I want to watch videos about DJ tech, so like I want to make more of them, and that was it. That was the motivation for it. It was like, I need something different, more reliable in my life, and that isn't just going out and DJing till 2 o'clock on a Tuesday evening or whatever. I need to do something else. And don't get me wrong, like I was kind of blessed, like having a baby when you're a full-time DJ just works locally, not a lot of traveling. It's actually a really cool thing. Like I was able to do that whole daddy daycare thing when she was little. The whole time, like I'd take her to all the activities and all this stuff during the day.
I can imagine
that's a vibe.
Yeah, that's it's like the perfect job for
it's
that.
really good, right? Yeah. So I couldn't complain.
Besides maybe being a little hungover at like 6 a.m. in the morning.
But I had to find something else that was more of a possible career prospect, because no one wants to be that kind of. I mean, this might sound bad, but like I don't think many people aspire to be a working local resident DJ when they're 55. I think that's that's not dissing anybody who is that person.
Right.
Like if that's you, all power to you. Like fair play for keeping that going that long. But not many of us have the energy as we get older to kind of be doing that kind of 6 night a week kind of life. Like it's not, and I knew I was never gonna, because I'm terrible at self-promotion and whatnot, so I knew I'd never go kind of beyond that. That's my limit as a DJ. I'm a local resident DJ. That's kind of what I do. Like, you put me in other situations, sometimes I can really flourish and it can go really well, but I'm never going to be a Calvin Harris, a James Hype, or because I'm so committed to open format, I'm never going to be like a full-on drum and bass DJ or anything like that. So it's like, this is my lane right here as a DJ. I'm a local resident DJ.
Did you have that realization as well? That
I'd already realized that like long before. That's because that's what I'm really good at.
Right.
I'm a really good resident DJ. Like I'm a fucking great resident DJ because I
love it.
I love the passion.
I love it
because I know how to structure a night. I know how to rotate the bar and make sure people are spending. I make sure I don't play stuff twice. I'm not dropping no hands at 11:30. Like all of that's my expertise as a DJ. I'm
can we give him a round of applause for this? It's true. It's true. And it's a very unappreciated.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful art when you do it correctly.
It is, and not a lot of people. A lot of DJs think they understand it, but they don't really understand it
till you do those 6 hours of a marathon set
for years,
flipping the room.
Yeah,
knowing the crowd
and making sure the bar staff are not sick to death of you playing the same records in the same order every week as well. Making sure you play the stuff that they like.
They know they know it. They just like I know how to do that. You don't know how to.
You know how to do it for 45 to an hour strong,
right?
And then you tap out. But
that's a real skill. But that is something that I am very good at.
And thank you, and I appreciate you being really proud of it, because a lot of people are they want to be the superstar, but they don't know that the grind really can pay off like that.
You know, it's really the grunt work. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know.
Are you Mexican by any chance?
I used to talk with Russell a lot, Russell in Brooklyn, you know.
Yeah.
We used to have these conversations that we're like kind of, I used to call us like the band of brothers.
Yeah.
And there was the Easy Company.
Yeah, Easy Company.
Easy Company was the company that always went in first. And they held it down, right?
Yeah.
In World War II in this HBO series. But we used to be like, yo, we're the grunts. We go in there and it's like we're slowly winning this war.
Yeah.
We're helping the clubs, but we're not really
You're getting shot.
we're not the superstars.
You're not getting the medals.
Or anything. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get the medals or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just kind of like you're doing the grunt work.
Yeah.
And we're 100% reliable and we're necessary.
Yeah.
Not everyone understands the sacrifices and what we're doing.
And the beauty
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it.
And so
I love
that's So I've always been a good resident DJ. I don't know how do we get to this topic in the first place?
Yeah,
you
we're
ha-
talking
you having
about
a kid
why
and-
you started doing video content.
But so I knew like that being that kind of DJ
Right.
at the age of 50, age of 55, it's not happening, right? That's not an option. I can't be doing that because you lose touch with the crowd as you get older. You know, as I say, once bottle service came in and like that kind of different vibe there, I kind of felt like I'd lost touch a bit. And then the house stuff comes back around and I feel back in touch again.
Right.
And so, you know, it was just that's what I needed. I needed something different and also something creative because I didn't want to go into like, you know, sales and business. It's not my thing. I'm a creative person. Like, and so, yeah, it just really appealed to me to make videos. And then very quickly, like Algorithm came to me with DJ on the iPad and they're like, do you want to do a demo of this new iPad app? And I'm like, yeah, amazing, let's do that. And then I went to, at the time, the BPM show was quite a big show in the UK. It's like the UK equivalent of the NAMM show. And I went there and I connected with like Chris Roman from Newmark and some other people. And that was the other thing, having worked in that store 20 years before or 10 years before, I had some contacts, like a couple of people at Pioneer DJ
Yeah,
that I'd
right.
kind of known from then, and like a guy at the Vestax distributor and stuff. So I managed to reach out to people and start to get people to send me stuff to review. And at that point, I didn't have the ability. You'll notice all the stuff on like MOJAXX TV. My first videos that I made on my channel are all called walkthroughs. They are not reviews. They are walkthroughs because at that point I didn't have the authority to review stuff and like review something and be super honest about it and like expect them to send me the next thing. So I would
You had to tread carefully.
Yeah.
so I would do walkthroughs. I would
Right.
demonstrate the product rather than review it. I would demonstrate it. I would give you some thoughts on it, but mostly I was demonstrating the product because that is a safe bet. You know, if I don't like something, it doesn't matter because I've just done a demo, a walkthrough.
Did you sneak in like, oh, nice knob? Don't
I mean,
like
I would editorialize a little bit, but like I was still had to play that game. And so that's why, but I would never have, you know, all that's the idea of doing like a fluff piece on a bit of gear and calling it a review, that would never sit right with me. And I would never have done that since day one. Like it was only when I really started doing it was when I started working for DJ Tech Tools, like freelancing for them. And they asked me to review stuff. And it was at that point I was like, well, they're still going to send stuff to DJ Tech Tools. Even if I slate this thing, they're still going to send stuff. I'm not like blowing up anyone's spot here.
Right.
I can be honest and do a review of something. And that's when that changed. And then once I started to do those reviews with DJ Tech Tools, then DJ City comes along. And at that point, it's DJ City. We have the authority. I can now just review stuff and be honest about it.
Oh, how long was that process? Like, how many years did
It's
it
like
take?
2 years.
2 years. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Wow,
fast,
that's
though.
pretty quick.
Right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I started doing my own videos in 2013, so like celebrated 10 years last year of doing videos. And then probably about maybe 9 months later, I started freelancing for DJ Tech Tools. And then at the start of, or the end of 2014, start of 2015, that's when Styles from DJ City flew over to the UK, to Newcastle, came and took me out for dinner and said, MOJAXX, come make videos for us.
Really?
And I was like,
He flew out
Damn.
just to recruit you.
well, the weird thing is, and this is where it's kind of serendipity and like the universe falling into place, is
Yeah.
that I, having had no links with the northeast of the UK at all my entire life, my wife, when I met her, was doing a master's degree in Newcastle. she's from down south as well, same as me, but she was doing a master's degree in Newcastle. So I ended up moving to Newcastle with her. Like once she finished that, and I didn't want to live in London anymore, so we moved to Newcastle, which is a great city. I love Newcastle, it was brilliant. But I ended up there. Turns out DJ City UK is founded by DJ Play, in conjunction with the guys over here in the US. And he is Newcastle born and raised.
Wow.
So DJ City's UK office was 5 miles from my house.
Wow.
And it was only 2 guys working in there, Satoru and Play at that point. They weren't really using the office for much at all. I don't even know why they had an office, to be honest with you. It seemed like a waste of money. But Styles comes over to me and says, look, instead of filming your videos in your garage like you're doing now and have to take everything out of the garage and put it back in the garage, you can just film your videos in our office.
Wow.
And I'm like, yes, sign me up. Let's go.
Wow.
That was it. He showed me the office. And I'm like, yep, let's go. Sign me up. That's it. So, and then that's 2015. So now it's been, whatever it is, 8 years, of working.
It's funny how things work out like that.
It's crazy.
Right?
But so if it hadn't been in that city,
right,
it just might have. So that's proper serendipity, like universe, planets align kind of vibes. And that's it's magic.
Is there any review that you've done that just caused like a whole lot of controversy, and like brands or companies were like extremely upset or anything, and you were just like, fuck, what did I just do?
I think I might have killed Pulse Locker.
Pulse Locker.
Where's Pulse Locker?
Yeah. We don't even know.
Yeah.
Like 2016. This is the most ironic thing ever.
Yeah.
Is because there was a streaming service for Serato. Came into Serato around maybe 2016.
Really?
Called Pulse Locker. They had the offline locker technology, all this, right? That came in. And I reviewed that, and I had to review it. It wasn't like I say I don't review stuff if I don't like it, right?
Right.
I had to do it because it was part of Serato. It was the new big feature in Serato. There's no getting away from that. I have to review it, right? It has to be in there. And their service, the technology was really good, worked really well, but their catalog was bad. The management of the catalog was bad. Like the way all their playlists were bad. Everything about it was bad. And I basically killed that service.
Wow.
I killed it with my review.
I try to Google it.
And
it comes up.
No. But then,
Oh my God.
But then the irony is that
that's the same technology you love right now.
well, yeah, but as I say, the technology, I really liked it. I just didn't like the library
catalog,
because the catalog is what counts, right? And then the irony is that then a few years later, Beatport purchased the Pulse Locker technology.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So now BeatSource and Beatport streaming is based on Pulse Locker technology.
Interesting.
That might not have been available
if
I hadn't
shit on
killed Pulse Locker. So I felt
That's your contribution to tech DJ world.
I felt really bad about it at the time, but I was like,
That's like similar to fucking up the stock market.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit, like the DJ stock market.
But I swear
for
I didn't
companies.
do it on purpose, and it just. And as I said, the video was very clear. The technology is really clever. It's because I've always been about expanding your library. That's great, but their catalog was so bad and so badly organized, and it just wasn't usable.
It was just too early.
Yeah, it was too early.
You know what I noticed? You shit on things that you end up loving a lot.
Yeah.
Stems, Post Locker.
But that's the ironic thing is, Beatport and BeatSource streaming. I should probably get royalties of that.
Yeah.
Because that's basically my invention. I invented it by killing the original version of it.
Get quickly on the
my
phone,
God.
man.
But it's wild, of all the ways things come around. I mean,
I wanted to ask you, did you have like some sort of structure of how many videos you wanted to pump out a week for the first couple of years? Or you were just doing
originally it was just like when I could get stuff in, and like I was still finding my feet with it. Once we got to DJ City, the schedule has basically always been one video a week ever since then. So like since 2015, it's just been one video a week. That's my target. That's my goal. Sometimes it won't quite reach that. Sometimes there'll be 2 in a week because 2 big releases come or whatever. So, all gratitude to the team for letting me be flexible about what I do and aiming for different dates for stuff. But that's always just been the goal. 1 a week. Beyond that, I don't have the creative energy to get more than 1 a week done.
And you shoot and edit and you do all
Yeah,
the
I
work?
do it all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
top to bottom,
Respect.
the whole lot. So
that's a lot of work.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Because you have B-roll B-roll footage and stuff like that. And
I was just talking to Jamie about this, about like recently there's been a lot of YouTubers that have been quitting their YouTube channels, and because they're just kind of like creating this like unsustainable pace for themselves, where they're creating too much content. They need to like they feel like they're competing too much. And
I've seen a few of those. I've
Yeah.
seen a few of those, right? And I've seen MKBHD's take on it as well. He put out recently. He spoke about it.
I was listening. That's the video that I was watching.
I think the issue is, and this is where I'm very lucky in my position, is that the main problem with running a YouTube channel is not the creativity and the putting out the videos. It's the money side. It's the business side. It's dealing with sponsors and ads and managing a team of people doing your editing and your accountants and all this kind of stuff. That's not a factor for me because I work for an established company. I don't have to worry about payroll for my YouTube channel,
right?
You know, for my editors, whatever. I get paid to make videos, and that's what I do. So all of that element of YouTube is not a part of my life. And, you know, I mean, truth is, like, you know, the stuff I make does not, it actually makes a loss. You know, the money I make from the videos and renting the office for me and stuff to work, you know, the studio and everything else, like there's no way we make enough off YouTube to pay for all that. No way.
Yeah.
But, you know, DJ City and then now Beat Source see that as a valuable contribution to the DJ community enough to keep paying me to make this content. So I am absolutely blessed that I'm in that situation because all of those stresses of having a YouTube channel, hunting for new sponsors and stuff like that, I haven't got to deal with that because my sponsor is Beat Source and DJC. That's all. I never have to look for a sponsor because my sponsor is Beat Source, and that gives me that freedom to be also, again, very honest and not be too scared about like offending a manufacturer because I'm not losing a sponsor slot or anything. It's like I'm getting paid by Beat Source to make these videos. So
hey, same, bro. Same.
Yeah, you know, but that's
we understand where you're coming from.
But the part of making content that is a stress is the business side, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that's enjoyable about making content is the making content part.
Yeah,
that's the bit.
creativity.
That's fun. The creativity side is always fun, but like, yeah, the business side of the media industry is not a fun part of it, and I'm completely insulated from that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's always a problem when you expand and you like, you know, you start creating like, you know, a team of people to offset some of the
And it's going to be interesting because we are now like Beat Source and Beatport are becoming very much more integrated together as companies, and that those different cultures are meeting together and everything else. And I think there is going to be some changes over the next couple of years where I'm going to be working with other people quite a lot because also what I do is very solo and quite isolated. I'm the studio / office. I'm the only person who works there. It's me. I spend all day, every day, basically on my own. You know, my wife's at work, my kids are at school, I'm at the office or at home editing, and I have a very solitary kind of existence. And there's a lot to be said for the creative benefits of collaboration, of working with other people. And so I think part of the plan is to like change up the way we do content between Beat Source, Beatport, and DJ City, and I will be working with other people a little bit more, and that really excites me. You know, because it's nice to be able to bounce ideas off people and say, "Oh, you're really good at this thing. You can take care of this part, and I'll do this part because I'm better at this." So it's like So it's not going to be like this now. This kind of static past few years where I've just done my own thing every week, and that's been it. That is going to change a bit, and that's quite, in some ways, nerve-wracking, but also really exciting because you can fall into ruts creatively, and it's like sometimes it's like, how do I make this video now different and interesting? And you don't want to be too formulaic with stuff. That's a difficult thing to avoid when you're making a lot of stuff.
What's your routine typically throughout the week? You know, when you're creating this content, and I mean, after all these years, it must be pretty set and like, you know, you know what I mean? You must be pretty. It
kind of is. It does vary according to the products I'm talking about and what I'm doing. Like my actual shooting and editing process is quite locked off, but the stuff around that is very different. Like if I'm testing a speaker, like a portable booth monitor, I have to take that to some gigs. If I'm testing a mixer, I'll take it out to some gigs. If I'm testing a controller, I'll try and gig with it and stuff like that. But there's other things like studio monitors. I have to sit around and have listening sessions and get mics out and do analysis and all this kind of. So it varies massively according to what I'm talking about. But then once that part's out of the way, and like a lot of stuff now, I'll stream with it on Twitch. So like if you lock into me on Twitch, MOJAXX DJ on Twitch, by the way, you'll see different bits of kit all the time, and like people will hear different mixers and like rotary mixers and all kinds of stuff going on my channel, because it's like that's a great way for me to test things in a very controlled environment.
Yeah,
and you can hear the difference between kit. Like you really can. You'd think you can't, but actually you can really hear the difference between one mixer on one stream and then another mixer on the next stream. You can really hear that difference, which is wild to me, but you can. The audience can hear.
Right now, what is your go-to setup, your perfect setup for DJing right now? You said the S11 mixer.
Still S11 phase turntables, Serato DJ Pro.
And which turntables?
I mean,
doesn't matter. Any Techniques 1200s is fine.
1200s or Pioneer PLXs. I mean, the Cross 12s, I love Cross 12s. I've managed to hang on to those in the lab right now.
The Pioneer turntables, huh?
The Cross 12s, you know, the ones with the clamp. So you don't need the needle.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, the new ones.
No.
They're the jam. And
Really?
I've still got a pair of those in the lab.
The ones that are like digital, right?
Yeah,
Go
they're like
straight
digital and vinyl, though.
They said they were going to kill off Techniques with that
they do both.
product.
They do. Well, they're not going to kill. Basically, nothing will ever kill Techniques.
No.
Because nuclear holocaust, like
Yeah.
Techniques 1200s will still be jamming.
It's like the
Mark
It's the
IIs.
Twinkies of
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't kill it.
Yeah, it's, you know,
Yeah.
there's no way. But like, I mean, most of the turntables at my gigs are like 20-year-old or 25-year-old 1200s, battered, bruised, still working.
So before these new Pioneers, though, the turntables, I really hated the other turntables that Pioneer had.
I didn't like those
The
either.
1000s, I'm all good with those.
The
You know,
PLX.
but you know that it actually the dish accelerates when you're scratching.
It's different.
You feel it?
Yeah. There is. It's a very aggressive motor.
Yeah.
So like,
That Hansen motor
I don't
is
know
very
what's going
aggressive.
on with the motor or the dish, but as soon as you lay any type of pressure on it, it accelerates.
It's aggressive.
Yeah,
definitely.
They fixed that though on the new one.
The new one is better. But if you're a Mark II Technics kind of person, you're always going to be
I'm going to feel that
yeah.
push.
modern turntables. You're never going to
Yeah,
love
yeah.
them in the same way.
Those Pioneers, I'm like DJing with them. As soon as, because I slow the dish down to mix, I'm like fighting the dish because I feel it accelerating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really like kind of, it takes me about 30 minutes to like
Get
adjusted.
Yeah.
But I've always said like, I don't know what they're thinking with that.
I guess they don't want the belt drive kind of like.
Well, there's no belt drive. It's direct.
No, that's what
Yeah.
they don't want that effect again.
Well, the thing is, like most of the other turntables over the past, couple of decades have been basically the same turntable. They're a handpin turntable out of Taiwan. And they put a different body on it, and like a different tone arm and stuff. But they all use this handpin motor. So like the Reloop 8000, 7000s, the Pioneer 1000s, all of these, they're all basically the same turntable. The Stanton 150s back in the day. You remember those really heavy Stantons?
Yeah.
They were the same. They're the same deck. They're all the same deck.
Really?
Every single one of them. Same
Really?
deck. Yeah.
Shit.
So you're DJing how often a week now?
I do twice a week.
Once, twice a week?
Twice a week. Like it depends on
So Friday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday. That's it.
So this is like kind of like you're DJing for like kind of almost like as a hobby, as an extra extra money, right?
Yeah, it's
now.
a little bit of extra cash in my pocket, but ultimately it's just because DJing is my favorite thing to do in the world, and if I didn't do it on a regular basis, like over the past few years, I've mostly been doing like one night a week, because I have 2 kids, I have family, I have responsibilities, making videos, etc. So
Right.
for me, like anything beyond 2 nights is not really happening. It's just too much, and one night a week was a sweet spot. But I do feel like I need to be DJing at least once a week because it just keeps me sane. Like I would miss DJing so much if I didn't do it like once a week. It would make me sad.
When you
I'd
were
be upset.
when you were coming up, was the dream to like DJ in London? Was that
yeah.
like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
was
the
gonna
big
ask that.
city,
Yeah,
like
big city.
like to me, what's the dream in England? Like as a DJ or an open format DJ, like what do you want to do? I got to do Ibiza. I got to do all
yeah. I mean, it's Ibiza and stuff. It's really that's the goals in that era, that 90s era.
But when you're outside of London, is it like, oh my god, like, I got to get into London or not? Really?
No, because there is like out in other parts of the UK throughout the 90s, there were incredible scenes like Liverpool, Cream, Gatecrasher, Sheffield, like Manchester, like Brighton, where I was near. Like there's every big city had incredible scenes. Okay. Newcastle, where I live now, like they had an incredible house scene, like Scott and Scooby, like Shindig back in the 90s. Like we used to get like guys like Todd Terry and David Morales coming over. Like there were times in the 90s when in the US, outside of maybe New York City, those guys could not get arrested. Like no one gave a shit about Todd Terry in Iowa in 1995, right? But in the UK, he was Todd the God.
Right.
Like we would fly these guys over. Every big promoter would fly these guys over. They'd pay them thousands of pounds and they would put them in front of massive crowds because we basically, the US invented house music and we just stole it off you and made it far more popular in Europe. And then
you guys also made a couple questionable songs during that era in the 90s.
Yeah, but like, and then you got it back again. So then America discovers EDM, like at the end of the 90s, it discovers Chemical Brothers and Fatboy Slim and everything else. It's like no, actually, you guys invented that, back in Chicago and New York. 20 years ago, and like you didn't give a shit at that point. The rest of the US couldn't care less about house music. There were areas and elements of
major influences, for
but
pop
in terms
music.
of but like house music, Nightcrawlers, Bucketheads, 1995, that was top 40, top 10 mainstream chart records in the UK. That was our pop music in the 90s. Like we had Bucketheads was a pop record.
What city in England do you think was like to you the mecca of nightlife? Where like you're like, oh man, this is the best city for nightlife, and I gotta go.
I mean, for me, it was London. Like London has always and probably still is. It is the central place because it's just for the music industry in general. London is a massive thing. Like you talk about the movie industry, it's LA, right? You talk about the music industry in Britain, it's London is like the home of it all. That's where the labels are. Everything else. So like London is still kind of that mecca. But what I realised having moved to London, as I say, in my early 20s and lived there, I hated London. I'm not a big city kind of guy. I like a smaller city. I like the chance of seeing someone you know. When you're walking down the street, you might see someone you know once in your life. Whereas in London, you'll never meet anybody you know by accident, ever. It will never happen because it's such a massive city and what have you. But like, at that point, I kind of realised, London's not really all of that for music. It's not as maybe good as I'd thought it was when I was a teenager, but still, it is like the focus of the music industry because every industry in every country needs that home city where it's based.
I was going to ask you guys are big on football and not American football. Soccer football. I mean, does like the scene of the bigger, like the Manchester, the Liverpool, the stuff you just mentioned, the bigger the team, does it have a bigger party crowd, bigger party scene, or is it?
No, it's not really. I would not say that's
loads of fans, but it just
it's not really linked in the same way. I don't think.
Okay, I would think like after the game, it gets crazy.
It doesn't translate because it's like you're watching a game in a pub or anything, and it doesn't translate to nightlife.
No, it's very male. It's very male dominated still. I mean, it's less so today than it used to be, but it's still a very male dominated sport. Like you go to. In the 90s, you go to the football terraces on a Saturday afternoon and it's just, just nothing but man everywhere. And it's like, nah, it's not.
I would think it would be like a Scottsdale where you go and there's massive bars, but it's because the college team isn't like
we don't have that college sports kind of thing in the same way. That's a very different thing. Like obviously a lot of the nightlife in the UK is based around universities and colleges, and like Newcastle has 2 universities in one city, so there's always been a really good student population there. Where I live now, it's been fantastic, and that's always been a factor in how busy the nightlife is and all that kind of stuff. And like Liverpool, Manchester, all of these cities, it's no coincidence that lots of them have big universities. So student living is definitely a factor. But now students really can't afford to party in the same way that they did. A, because nobody can afford to party right now, but also because, you know, we've now got the whole student loan thing in it. That's got bigger and bigger over the past.
You guys are having
decades.
issues with that as well.
Yeah, so now students now, they can't afford to go out. Like in the 80s, everyone went to university for free, and like they got grants and all this kind of, and like now it costs you a lot of money to go to university. So a lot of these kids are going to university, they're studying, they're also working like 2 jobs to kind of keep their loans to a minimum and stuff like that. And that's changed it a lot. So yeah, it's not the thing that it used to be, but yeah, certainly in terms of the link to sports and music, there's been times when it's been a factor, but not in the same way, I think, as over here.
Yeah, like a football game.
Are you talking to like younger DJs in the scene? In England
all the time. Like,
do they like confide to you? They like see you as like, you know, an OG or like uncle?
Yeah, like grumpy old man. Yeah.
Don't play no hands.
Yeah. I've kind of
whatever you do, don't let crooked
no hands before 12 o'clock. You'll be in trouble. But like, no, I've never. Yeah, because of what I do, you know, for DJ City and Beat Source, and that was the one thing, you know, all respect to Play, who assembled DJ City UK, he's always understood the value of community as a DJ. That's always what set DJ City apart, was the fact we have our link-ups, we have all these connections. I
agree.
And like, we still to this day, and shout out to my guy Jam for still carrying this on, in Newcastle, we have an annual DJ Christmas dinner in early January. So like where the DJs, all the DJs from the city go and have dinner.
You know, Christmas is in December, right?
Yeah, but we're all working. We're busy. It's Christmas. Man's busy on Christmas DJing, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
I think.
In England, it's busy around that time?
Yeah.
It's usually
in
like
the run
dead.
up to Christmas, it's popping off.
Really?
Yeah.
It's usually like dead. It's usually
the
like
week
dead.
coming up to Christmas here is like, pff.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They're like,
okay.
Jesus Christ's birthday, let's turn on.
Really?
Yeah, we have like Black Eye Friday and stuff, where it's like the last Friday before Black Eye Friday. So like everyone goes out and gets really drunk, and like there's loads of fighting and stuff.
Oh, Black Eye
Friday. Yeah. We have that kind of. All the cities have different like versions of that. The run up to Christmas is popping, like, that's big. So we all go out for it. But like the idea that all of the DJs just sit down and break bread in the city and like have a meal together in January.
Wow.
And that's the legacy of Play, like DJ Play and DJ City doing that.
It's like your friends getting over there.
But just in Christmas time.
It's just really nice to, you know, and just to connect. So that's where I'm kind of connected with this younger generation, these younger guys that are coming through, is through the WhatsApp groups now. Like, I mean,
what are they reaching out to you for?
They're not reaching out. We're part of that community.
So you see the conversations going on.
I'm one of the old guys in the community.
Yeah.
And
it's funny. This is bullshit. What you guys are talking about.
But like, it's funny that I see a lot of the guys who I think of as the young guys, they're not the young guys anymore. They're kind of older guys now as well. It's like another generation coming up behind those guys. Right. And it's like, that's when you start to feel kind of old. But
you go from OG to double OG.
Yeah, yeah. But triple OG. But I'm not mad at that. Like, I don't feel... I've got my experience and my wisdom of doing what I do, and I'm very happy. I'm not afraid of being the old. You know, how old are you? You ask a DJ how old they are, and you're like 27, and you keep that 27 going for like a decade. Because you're afraid to be seen as anything older than that. And it's like, no, I'm 45. I'm an old man now. But I'm good with that. I'm happy with my age as a DJ. I'm happy with what that brings to the table.
Yep.
And I'm happy that I am now doing like these newer gigs I've taken on where I'm playing older music, but like I'm playing to a very young crowd and I'm holding it down like super hard. And it's like, okay, I still got it. I've got this.
I think there's a great period. Like when I look at OGs, it's always hard to be like called an OG and an unk for the first time. You're starting to realize you're getting older. But once you start embracing it, you realize like there's no hiding the shit.
There's no hiding it. Yeah.
There's no hiding it now. I am,
and there's nothing wrong with it, to be honest with you.
It's actually, to me, I love seeing older DJs in their 40s or 50s just rock the crowd, and I just love it. And I'm just like, this is a master of their craft.
Yeah.
Even to their 50s or whatever, you know, I'm just kind of like, I love seeing it.
I mean, still my favorite DJ to watch in the world is Jazzy Jeff. Still,
right?
You know, I've seen him numerous times. I've opened for him a couple of times. Like, he is my favorite DJ to watch in the world because he's an OG. He's still in touch with what's going on musically. He's still in touch with technology, And so he's got that of being like, he's still fresh, but he's also got the years and years of respect as well behind him. And he still rocks a party super hard. I mean, he doesn't like to leave his house these days. I think since COVID, he's realised he doesn't have to go out that much. But like, you know, you see the footage of like all those hip hop 50th shows last year and stuff, and like
he was the DJ for most of it.
He brings so much energy to a room and to a party like no one else, and like he's out there and he brings that,
and he's just
energy.
so sharp, and he's so clean
sharp.
And
he's
so
good, and like it just. So yeah, he'll always be the GOAT to me.
He's the GOAT.
He will always be the GOAT.
In these group chats where like you guys are in the community, right? What is the most common issue that everyone's complaining about or bringing up? In terms of like DJ life right now, it is a challenging time economically in the UK. Okay.
You know, so rates were probably...
Rates is an issue.
Maybe oversaturation of DJs. Not everyone's getting gigs.
I don't think there's an oversaturation. I still think there's almost like a shortage of DJs in some respects, in my city at least.
Damn.
But like there is... Yeah, the rates are not there. People aren't going out, as it were. But in terms of tech stuff, there's always confusion about like what works with what, like compatibility of Serato, because Serato's so locked down. It's like, is this going to work with this? If I plug this into this, is this going to work? And it's like there's so many questions around that. And I think a lot of DJs are looking to kind of move to standalone and like playing off USBs a little bit more. That is still a trend I'm seeing. But they don't understand quite how to do it, and it's quite challenging, you know, because a lot of the stuff, you know, I said we adopted CDJs really quickly in the UK, and they became the standard issue. But now CDJs are so expensive. There's no budget CDJs right now. If it's 3,000s or nothing. If you want to buy a brand new pair of CDJs today, you're spending $5,000 for a pair.
Yeah,
right. Of CDJs for two. Not four, two, $5,000. And a lot of smaller venues can't afford that or don't want to spend that, obviously. $5,000 for CDJs, and you've got to get a mixer as well. That's best part of $2,000 on top.
Well, it's a controller world now.
So it's a controller world. It's XDJ RX.
Yeah.
You know, those standalone units and those
if you're lucky.
Like the RX and the RX2 don't support Serato. So it's like, well, if you don't want to take your own controller, you're going to have to use USBs, or you're going to have to use record box. And it's like, you know, I had a whole, you know, this new place I'm playing at, they had a RX3, and then so I turned up first night of that. I had to get the drivers for the RX3 so I could run my Serato because I still wanted my stems. But it's like, yeah, so its compatibility is the endless. Since that switch to laptops, you know, and standalone 10, 15 years ago, that's always been a thing. Does this work with this? If I plug this into this, is this going to work? That's the age-old question for DJs.
Are you interested at all in USB, like DJing on sticks or
switched
box?
Fully.
Really?
So it was just before I started working so it must have been around 2013, 2014. I bought a pair of CDJ 2000 Nexus players, and I switched fully to USBs.
For how
open
long?
format for like 3 years. That was my thing.
Damn.
Because I wanted to see if it was feasible to do as an open format
and
DJ.
It was.
And it totally was. Like, you have to be really organised with your playlist, with your crates, because you have to know where stuff is and be able to get there real quick. Because this is before they even had the keyboard search.
Right.
This is when you had to like slide your finger to the letters. Like, damn.
Jesus.
It was wild.
We used the jog wheel.
I did jog wheels though.
Yeah. But like to search, but if you actually want to search for the name of something, you had to go to the search and you had to slide your finger like C-A-X-Y. Yeah, and then you get it wrong and you have to delete.
It's like a rotary phone.
Yeah. So you had to know where stuff was on your sticks and everything else. And like, I realized you could get like a massive SD card and just have like 10,000 tracks.
Yeah,
and you could have your whole library and all this kind of stuff. And so it's like that learning process. But I found that quite enjoyable because, again, of that like forced restriction kind of thing. It's like I'm going from having everything on my laptop in Serato. Now I've only got a stick with a certain amount of tracks on it, and it focuses the mind, and it makes you think, right, this is my crate that I'm working out of tonight. And the limitation, I think it's still a limitation now in Record Box, you can only have a crate with 1,000 tracks in it. You can't go any bigger than that because all the players won't show those extra tracks.
Right.
So that becomes, okay, well, I'm doing this residency every Tuesday, and I'm mostly playing out of this one crate. That crate, when I add something to it, because I've hit 1,000 tracks, so if I add a new track in, something's got to come out. And that again focuses your mind on like, okay, what am I not playing in this crate? Like, what record do I never play? Take it out and put a new track in instead and stuff like that. So
so it's almost the closest thing to like carrying vinyl.
Like going back to a crate, a real physical crate. So I really enjoyed that, and I would still. There's a lot of me would. I'm happy to play off USBs still, and I do on occasion. On occasion.
But then what made you come back to Serato?
Stems and phase.
Stems and
phase. Like phase, it just kind of it's so much better than control signal. it's so much better. And I love turntables. Like, you know, as much as I'm very happy on CDJs, I'm still a turntable lover first and foremost. For me, that is the most comfortable format to play on is turntables. And so, yeah, phase and stems. Like, I fully went back on. Once phase came along, I pretty much switched back to Serato for my gigs most of the time.
Right.
And then now with stems, that's like sealed the deal. It's like I can't be without my stems. Like I play off USBs and I'm like, well, I have to mix with an outro, and like I can't just it's weird without stems now. Like it's so weird not having stems because I just a cappella out every single track at this point. So it's the blendemic, as DJ Cable puts it. Blendemic is kicking in right now. Like every track's a new blend with an a cappella on it because I can, and it's like.
I love I love when it's done right and people are actually mixing and blending like hip hop like a house song.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of like introing the vocals, the bass line, taking out the bass line on something and then kind of slowly building it and doing almost like a 32 bar or 64 bar transition.
Yeah.
You know, I think
it opens so many possibilities, and it's like anything else. You can be lazy with it. You can not use it. Or you can be creative with it and try different things, and like whatever. Like it's opened up. It's just changed the way that I play, and that's really exciting. I like things that change how I play, that keep it fresh and keep me moving into different areas.
I want to go back a little bit, and I want to talk about the issues that the younger DJs were having in England. And you said it was mostly rates. In your opinion, what's the solution? What is the problem? What is the issue?
It's just a difficult thing because it's the economy as a whole is in the UK we are really having a bad time with our economy right now. Right. Like it's a mess. Like we won't go down the politics road, but like it's true.
But even a lot of Europe, everyone's kind of. But
it's all over the world since COVID. COVID caused that was the main issue that caused the problems
for sure
for every country.
Inflation,
right? But some countries have they have recovered better than others. And like the US has recovered better than the UK has because we have other factors like the fact we had Brexit, like we left the European Union, and that's added like trade barriers and stuff to what we had before. So the UK economy is in a bad state right now. It's not good, and I honestly don't think there's much can be done for in terms of getting DJ rates up and everything else until the economy as a whole is stabilized and is better. And I don't think, we've got an election coming up in this next 12 months. It has to happen in the next 12 months. So, like, we have an election coming. There might be a big change then. There might not. It might still carry on as we are. And so who knows? But, like, so my main kind of advice to DJs is just keep focused on doing gigs that make you happy and don't chase the money all the time because, like, if you don't enjoy a gig and I've done plenty of gigs just for money over the years. It's never satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not enjoying, like I say, I'm not fussy about playing. I'll play cheesy. I'll play Backstreet Boys all night if that's what it takes. I'll play it. I don't care.
That's why I love you, MOJAXX. I love it.
But if it's not a fun gig,
right,
and you are literally just stood there doing it, just waiting till you get paid because that's the only reason you're in that place is to get paid, then do something else with your time, and I think that's what kind of why a lot of DJs kind of fell out in the COVID times is they realised we're not actually enjoying this. It's not something we want to do at home for fun, and that's where you saw in COVID all the DJs who enjoy DJing and love DJing were all trying to find ways to do it on Twitch or on Facebook or on Instagram streaming. They were the ones and those are the ones that love DJing. They were trying to DJ one way or another, and like certain parts of the world shut down more than others. If you're in Texas, you were just DJing throughout the pandemic whatever.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Big up Danny West every time. But like, you know, but yeah. So it was. I'm not saying people who didn't stream during the pandemic don't love DJing. That's not. But you know, what I'm saying, like, on the whole, you saw who it was, and I just think the kind of younger cats who I deal with now, who are in my group chats and everything else, they're the ones who love DJing. And so they will always rise to the top, and they will always find ways to get paid more money and everything else because they're doing gigs that they enjoy and they have that passion for DJing. And people can sense when you have passion for DJing or when you're just doing it for a check. Like, they know the difference. And like, if you're just doing it for a check, find something else to do for a check, because it's not. It ain't that. No, it ain't. That's not it, man.
Is there anything you're looking forward to, like while you're here in LA for NAMM or anything? Is there? And also, I'm kind of curious, when you come to the States once a year and during this fucking time you're in LA, is there anything you look forward to in LA? You know?
Yes.
An In-N-Out Burger? What is it?
The Outlet Mall.
The Outlet Mall?
I love the Outlet Mall.
Oh, wow.
Camarillo? Because the outlets are orange in Anaheim, right? I love it. Like the one time I went to Vegas, Outlet Mall. Got on a bus. I got on a bus and went to the Outlet Mall on the edge of Vegas.
You are fucking brave taking the bus to Vegas.
What is the first store you're going to?
It's Adidas is my main one. When I started losing weight,
Wait, Adidas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Adidas.
Did you catch that? He said Adidas.
I heard I eat ass.
Adidas.
Yeah.
I heard I eat ass.
I believe the original pronunciation is actually Adidas.
Adidas.
But I say Adidas, you say Adidas.
Right.
Like, whatever.
I was like, I eat ass too.
Yeah, same.
The thing is, I've spent the last, like, my adult life, all of my adult life, I've been a big guy, and you just wear black all the time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Also, because you're a DJ, that's what you do. You wear black. But like, I just wore nothing but black. So as soon as I lost all this weight, I'm like, I'm going to start dressing like my 8-year-old son. Right. So like
he wants tracksuits in every color
so,
now.
I'm out. Like these.
The Jeremy Scott joints.
Shorts, the Jeremy Scott shorts, right? I bought them at the outlet last year when I came out in April from the outlets in Orange. And yeah, I wore some like Adidas tracksuit bottoms that were like, they're like from Tron or some shit.
Yeah.
I got those from the outlet mall the time before. Like,
trainers look like they're from the outlet mall.
Yeah. No, these are not. Ultra Boost all day, baby. If you want comfort in the booth, that's a discussion on Twitter all the time.
The Ultra Boost is the
Ultra
one.
Boost is the jam. I have like 5 pairs of Ultra Boost.
I can't do it. I can't do the Ultra Boost.
I could do Ultra Boost all day, bro.
No.
And I'm a big sneaker guy, but I was like, the Jordan 1s hurt your feet. Jordan 6s hurt your every Jordan hurts your feet.
But I like running shoes for DJing and like proper that cushioning. That's what I like.
The New Balance, you put me onto the New Balance, and that was really great.
New Balance is great.
Yeah, I need to try some New Balance. But yeah, so like Adidas is like, that's my favorite brand, because when I started losing weight, I discovered I was a medium in Adidas. And so I could start wearing Adidas medium, and that's like close to my heart now. You know, it's like
I made it.
Yeah.
You went from what, 2XL to a medium?
2XL, sometimes more.
Sometimes
that's why his roller bag, he had this huge roller bag.
Yeah.
It's probably half full because you're gonna fill it up with all this fucking outlet shit.
But like, I kind of find when I go to the outlets here in the US, like stuff like these Jeremy Scott joints and stuff, you guys don't really want them, but I do.
Sells out.
You know what's funny?
It sells out in England.
That's why they're at the fucking outlet mall.
England doesn't want it either, but like I said, the outlet mall, because my taste has always been like bold neon stuff.
Right.
Like I like that kind of vibe. That's my thing, but I was never brave enough to wear it. So now I'm like straight to the outlet mall. Like, give me that neon shit. Get it in my veins. Like I'm gonna take it all home with me.
Look at his hair.
Yeah.
Jeremy Scott's bold.
Yeah. He's totally like Jeremy Scott.
I wear like loads of leopard print and shit. Like, that's my jam. I'm really into leopard print.
He's really loud with his designs and stuff, so, which is great.
Yeah, I like loud stuff. Now I feel like more confident to wear loud stuff.
No. Everything's loud.
Yeah, neons on the Ultimate Ears right here.
Those earbuds. What's the company?
Ultimate Ears.
Ultimate Ears
Pro.
Now you told me how much you spent on that.
Oh, these are the new ones I'm testing, right? These are like $3,000.
It has your name on them.
Yeah. These are like $3,000 a pair.
$3,000.
$3,000.
Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we leave, hold on.
These are for like Bono and that though. These are like pro top level.
What if you ripped this cable? It's $3,000
the cable's not $3,000. You can just put a new one on.
Wow. You see?
Yeah, you just put a new one on.
Oh, so
if you step on this, if you drop that on the stage and step on that, that's $1,500 right there.
Wow.
For this one. I touched the cable and I was like, dude, this is you know how many drivers are in these? You know how many drivers? Right?
We got to take a picture. We got to take a picture.
There's like a bass driver and a treble driver. 21 drivers in each year.
Jesus.
That's why they're $3,000.
But they got to get fitted for your ear, right?
Yeah. These are fully custom for each
How
ear.
long does it take?
You just go to like an audiologist or like the NAMM show. I'm going to be at the NAMM show tomorrow. They're going to take impressions of people's ears at the NAMM show.
Wow.
And then you just send it into them, or they'll take them at the show, and then it takes like a couple of weeks to get them done, and that's it.
Wow.
I got to do this.
How long you been doing the in-ears?
I started during COVID because I was at home on Twitch DJing at home at night, and like I couldn't make noise. I had to be quiet. I couldn't be pumping the speakers at 10 o'clock at night. And obviously, a lot of people who know me are Americans, etc. So it's like, when's the best time? It has to be in the evening because the Americans are awake and all this. And so I had to do everything in the headphones. And as that went on over the next year or two, it evolved to, well, why am I wearing these big ass like Pioneer? Like you've got, are they the X10?
Yeah.
Like, I love them. They were my favorite headphones.
Right.
I love big headphones. That was always my thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why am I wearing these big heavy headphones for like 3 hours at home when actually in-ear monitors are a thing? Let's give some cheap like Chinese ones a try.
So this is recent.
So it's only over the past few years. Yeah, I've always been a big headphone kind of guy, really. But now I can't go back. I cannot go back.
Can you go into that?
I tried.
You did in-ear?
I did try. I tried in-ears at a gig, and I don't like constantly hearing, the other track in my ear. And I'm not used to turning it off or lowering it.
Yeah,
you don't put it on that?
Yeah, because I'm used to letting it hang and pause. And
there's a lot of factors to it.
There's stupid.
You feel maybe isolated from the crowd a bit.
A little bit.
Some people, like these ones are available. You can get them with a hole in them. So like you don't get as much isolation, but it means also people can talk to you more easily and you can hear them.
I want to try, but
there's lots of options.
I'm
but like
so used to this.
You have to kind of persevere with it. But they're saving your hearing because you're not exposing your ears all night. But I used to wear custom earplugs though when I was DJing with regular headphones.
Yeah, I couldn't do that either.
That one's hard.
You're not rocking earplugs?
No, that one's difficult for me.
Oh my god.
I feel suffocated.
Get some oh my god. Get some earplugs.
What's the earplugs you get? I trust you, MOJAXX.
Whatever, just get customs.
Just customs?
Customs.
Like what
take
company?
Off like 10 dB. ACS or something like that. There's loads of companies do them. Custom in it.
Does this company do that or no?
I don't know. They don't do just plugs. But I have my earplugs in my bag still for the NAMM show. I'm going to be walking around with my custom earplugs in. When I go to spin class at the gym and they're pumping out the music, I got custom earplugs in.
Wow.
Because I'm not like, if I'm not getting paid to damage my hearing, I ain't doing it.
See, I have that same rule, except it's with my liver.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking
unless you
pay me.
Yeah.
Like, I got to really love you to drink if I'm off.
Same. I'm not much of a drinker. But
wait, so what are you looking forward to at NAMM this year? Anything in particular?
Outside of that big reveal you're doing, apparently.
Well, we already did the Pioneer. That's the biggest product. Is the Omnis Duo.
Yeah.
The battery powered all-in-one device. So that's the biggest release. I'm interested about this new reloop controller thing from Laid Back Luke. The Mixtour Pro. Like I've only just seen pictures of that. I haven't seen it. So I get to meet Laid Back Luke on Friday at a press conference, which will be nice because he's a legendary guy. And so that looks dope. There's a couple of things I'm going to be shown behind closed doors that aren't actually going to be at the show, which I can't talk about. Even after the show, even when this goes out, I won't be able to talk about. So that's the kind of stuff that's there are a few more products this year than there were last year because it's back to its normal time of the year. January, it's back to January again.
Right.
So that fits in with the release schedules of the manufacturers a bit more. So there is going to be some new bits to see, but I don't think, for me, NAMM is all about connecting with people. It's about being in that room with those people and just say hi to people.
And you get to walk through and sign autographs and take pictures. You're going to be the man of the hour.
Kissing babies, all that.
Yeah.
No, that's the vibe.
Come here.
Wait. So I talked to a few people and they're like, they always tell me, they're like, NAMM isn't what it used to be. Like NAMM isn't what NAMM used to be. And I really have never been a NAMM guy, so I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But do you know what they're talking about? What are they talking about?
Trade shows in general are not what they used to be.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's an internet age, right?
Yeah.
Trade shows don't actually need to exist. It's from a product point of view.
Right.
They don't need to exist. There used to be a time when that was how you would show your products to the world, was you take them to a trade show and you demonstrate them to the world, and like the press would cover it and everything else. That time is gone. You know, like CES is not what it was.
I don't even know what it is.
Is that even happening anymore?
No, I mean
CES just happened.
No, not CES. What's the game?
There's also
E3.
E3, right? E3's dead, right?
Yeah, it
Literally
just finished
dead.
last year.
Yeah, so
E3
like,
was massive 10 years ago.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
even like for retail, with clothing, magic, agenda, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, so you know, it's become more about just connecting with people in real life, and but that's the thing. I can't really comment on whether NAMM was better back in like the early 2000s, because my first NAMM was 2020. So I went to the one just as COVID began.
That was your first NAMM?
That was my last trip, was NAMM 2020.
I was at that one.
That was your first one?
That was my first NAMM.
Oh, shit.
How?
Because
I don't get
live in the UK. It's like 11 hours on a plane, bro. Like, that's a
But
long
that's
way to
just
come
Super
for a
Bowl.
trade show.
I thought you would have been
No, but
coming
like-
out here
You're like
since
Hulk Hogan to
2016.
WrestleMania.
No,
Like-
it never quite worked. And also because, like, yeah, it costs a lot of money to go. But also, I've never was that much of a fan of trade shows in the past. Like, I found them quite tedious. And it wasn't until, to be honest, like now I'm more connected with people, and so I can.
Why is that? Why?
Well, it just like it's now everyone knows who I am.
Right.
I'm trying to avoid saying that, but like now everyone knows. It's nice for me now because I'm like getting the love.
Top 5 DJ voices
Top
of all
5
time.
DJ
From the manufacturer, you know, but like from the manufacturers and stuff. Like when you're not a name in the industry and you're going over trying to get attention of these manufacturers, etc. It's not
Right.
about the selfie stuff. That I'm not doing. You know, like when you've got a name of like DJ City or Beat Source behind you and it's on your badge, that's a different thing from being like MOJAXX from whatever.
From Newcastle.
From nowhere.
Newcastle.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so in the kind of the start of me doing this stuff, I didn't like doing trade shows.
Oh,
at
so
all, 'cause
it's
it was
easier for you to get into these doors.
Yeah, the doors are open for
Yeah,
me
the
now,
doors are
a
open.
lot more.
He's
And-
getting invites.
Before he's like,
Yeah.
He's getting a glass of
Let me
champagne
in.
handed to him
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
he walks in.
and so
Right.
that's why whenever I
He's
have
getting the VIP gift bag. Yeah.
But like when I have the opportunity to open those doors for other people, like
Right.
Cleveland Terry or Nick Spinelli and those guys,
Respect,
I
my
will
guys.
open those doors. You know, like I got Cleveland in the Newmark, the In Music booth back in 2020.
Right.
He was basically nobody at that point. He had his channel, but like they didn't know who he was.
They were
And I'm like-
overseeing him.
And I walked him up to the door of their thing, and I said to the guy, I'm like, "This is Cleveland. He needs to come in here. You need to sort him out."
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because like that's once you've got those doors open for you, it's
Right.
great. And like, I knew that Cleveland would do really well with that connect. But
He
someone's got to
remembers
make
that. Yeah, he
connect.
brought that
remembers
up
that.
with
He
us.
brought
Yeah,
that
he's
up.
mentioned it, right? Exactly. And like, but that's why I'm always happy to do that for other people, because when people open those doors for me back in the day, I'm incredibly grateful for them doing it for me. So
Are you doing that for Nick Spinelli too?
I mean, I did it for Nick last year.
Why did you do it for Nick? No, I'm just kidding.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
Nick, I love you. I'm just
I love
just
you.
joking with you, Nick. I love
You know,
you.
and it's that's the whole thing with content creators. there's never like this competition element. Like my last
Yeah.
episode of Beat Source Tech went out a few days ago, was 26 DJ related YouTube channels that you should be watching. Obviously, you guys were on it.
Nice.
Why? What the fuck?
You were the first mention, in fact, on the list.
Road podcast.
Yeah, you were actually the first mention on the list. But like, because yeah, it's about sharing that knowledge and about sharing that wisdom that other people are sharing, and it's like connecting people like that. There's no when you're really into content creation.
Yeah.
As a creative.
Why do you have to do
person.
an American voice?
No, that was a British
What's it?
content creation.
We're not trying to do
when you're
England
in that
accents over here.
game, but like if you're a creative person like that, there is no like competition. One channel doesn't do better, so another channel does worse. You know what I'm saying? Like that we
Right.
can share this and,
Because
and expand the knowledge out.
The
'cause
reviews are different. The
yeah,
point of
everyone's
view is
got different perspectives.
Yeah.
Everyone's got different takes, and I find that's really important. Like the fact that I can talk about digital DJ tips and their channel when he's one of the guys who inspired me to make videos back in
Right.
the day, and I mentioned him as one of my favorite channels in this new video, and he emailed me and said, "Oh, thanks for the shout out and stuff like that." There's no beef. There's no drama. I'm not a drama person. I don't like drama in my life.
We don't like drama
I like
either.
everyone to get on. You just like controversy.
No,
That's
I
different-
don't. I
different
don't at
from
all.
drama.
We're just
I
very
don't.
opinionated people, and people
Yeah.
don't like our
I
opinion.
don't have a good filter. You know, like I have
his excuse. He's from New York. That's
I have a I like brutal honesty.
Brash.
You know.
Yeah.
If I had an issue with anyone, I would address it to them. You know, with courtesy, but I'm gonna address it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna hold it.
He's not gonna tweet about it. He gonna call you.
Yeah. If I'm gonna say that was the worst era in DJ tech, I'm gonna say it's the worst era. I'm gonna say I hate the fucking rain mixers around that time. Mixers.
I actually want to get the 70. But yeah,
I like the rain mixers of today a lot more than I do the ones that
I like the A-Track one. It looks really nice.
That's my favorite one. That's the one I use the most.
I want that one.
Yeah, I really use that a lot. But I hated that.
I love the rain mixers now.
Yeah,
but that 57, I
fucking hate it.
I love the 57. I still have my 57.
My DJ partner at the time, who I was DJing with, he had a 57, and I hated it. I just hated it.
I agree with you.
I
love them.
So I was very happy when the SL boxes came along because suddenly I could use mixers that I liked, like a Pioneer mixer or something else with.
But I can't lie. Once I got into the Pioneer 900 and I heard it, how it sounded, there was no going back. That sound card is 0 to none. That sound card is the 900.
The 900 is standard for me. It's like what I've been hearing. But
the original 900 sounds bad.
I mean the one now, but
the 900 that we used now. You know, it's like that was the standard.
Nexus 2 is good. The original 900 sounds like hot garbage.
And then
the Nexus 1 is horrible.
Yeah.
The Nexus 2, there's no going back.
Also, that USB port is the worst.
Yeah, totally. And the it's too nerdy even to talk about.
Go ahead.
The quality of the audio interface in the first 900, the 900 Nexus, was bad. So like you'd be playing off CDJs through like the line input, through the digital, and it would sound punchy and it would sound fat. And then you switch over to Serato plugged into the USB, and it sounded so weedy and thin and bad. And the Nexus 2, that was the biggest step for me, was they made the audio interface, the USB inputs, sound as good as CDJs. So that was the big, but that first 900, when you switch over to USB, you're playing Serato, it's like, no, this is whack.
I mean, the most beautiful sounding mixer I've heard is the V10.
The V10 is.
I love the V10. I love it.
It actually improves the sound. I've never heard anything like it where it improves the sound.
Like I've
spaceship boy.
I've heard better.
Really?
But I haven't heard better in a club mixer. Digital features, all that. I've heard some rotaries.
Rotaries are like
of recent times that have literally made my jaw drop to the floor. The sound so good. But if you want a mainstream club mixer, I genuinely think the V10 is like the best mixer there is. Like I love it. It's like it's a workhorse. It's got great effects on it. It sounds phenomenal. It's got all the channels you could ever need. The crossfader's dope.
Amazing.
Like for me, the V10 is an incredible achievement. I love that mixer.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sad I don't have one. Anyway. Pioneer DJ.
Intense.
Hello, Pioneer DJ.
He needs a V10.
I need a V10 in my life.
Yeah, V10. Got to review it, man.
I've reviewed it. I spent months on that review. It's like a 40-minute long review as well. Still had to send it back.
They're like, send it back. Come on, hurry up.
Standard, man. Rev 7 had to go back. I love the Rev 7 too. That had to go back.
The Rev 7 is nice.
Anyway,
MOJAXX, thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
No, I mean, I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for so long.
Yeah,
but we need a drop from you. Can you do a drop for us?
Can you do an outro for us?
Can you do a drop for us that we're going to use? We're possibly going to use for the beginning of all our new YouTube videos.
Oh, that's amazing.
I want to do it live. I have a script here for you.
I was going to say, if you got, have you got a script? Because I can't just do that off the dome.
No.
I'm not freestyling.
You can do a couple practice runs and we'll do
which is the best one.
Any English jargon would be
in it.
Add a bollocks there or anything you want.
Man.
Yeah.
You are now locked into the #1 DJ podcast, Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast, presented by DJ City and Beat Source. Crooked and Jamie, get to it, fellas. We're just warming up.
Hey! That was amazing.
Wait. You know you could start a business doing drops. I'm telling you right now.
I have thought about it.
Have you thought about being a motivational speaker? Because Crooked has this idea. Go ahead, tell me your idea.
No. I just I need some drops. Like you're now listening to DJ Crooked. I need the MOJAXX. I need all these
we'll
things.
Do some of that after.
No, I want you to tell him.
I need him to say Korean blow. I need him to do all those things.
No, I want you to tell him your idea about hearing his voice.
Oh yeah. You know, and I personally need. I'm like before I go to the gigs. I just want you talking to me like, Crooked, you got this. You're #1. They flew you out here for one reason only. It's because no one can do what you can do, Crooked.
Time to step
when
up.
When you get to that DJ booth, you're all that matters. Everyone's there for you. And I'm just going to be like, woo!
Feeling stronger.
I just need you to tell me that. I need you in my ear. And I'm not
sure I have that energy.
It'll be like 8 Mile. I'll just be in the bathroom, like, throwing up spaghetti.
Lose Yourself by MOJAXX.
I'm just gonna listen to MOJAXX.
Spoken word cover of Lose Yourself. Yeah, I'm there.
Mom spaghetti.
I'm telling you, I'm taking 15% of his his new drop business. If you want to drop from MOJAXX, hit me or him up. Just let us know.
Group chat.
Yo, MOJAXX, thanks so much, bro. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Yeah.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.